A new dawn breaks across the plains. Hope rekindles in the crimson tide, as freedom's anthem calls our names. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Fields of dreams are ripe once more. Factories hum with honest pride. Our banner waves on every shore, with courage marching by our side. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Through trials dark, we found our steel. The eagle's cry breaks through the night. In unity, our wounds now heal. We chase the dawn with fearless light. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing this week? Let me see what we got here. What's up, Jade? How you doing?
Doing okay. How you doing, Rich?
I'm pretty good. What's up, Bass? What's up, Simon? Who else is here? A lot of people here for now. Yeah, tonight for the first time we're streaming on Facebook along with Rumble. Well, we're always on Rumble and YouTube. So tonight we're on Rumble, YouTube, BitChute, and Facebook. So hello, Facebook fans. So let's see. So how was your week? How's your Thanksgiving? Let me put it that way.
Oh, Thanksgiving was great. We went to some friends that we normally share back and forth holidays, and we've known these people for 30 years. Yeah. And a bunch of people there. Her son, his wife, their two kids, plus a couple of other people and some friends. So it was a big thing. And of course, you wake up today with a food hangover.
Yeah, exactly. What's up, Anglo? Yeah, exactly.
And what about you? Did you wake up?
Yeah, we had a good time. Yeah.
You had your brother over?
Yeah. Jimmy was over. He's supposed to be in here. I got him home because he had to leave today. So I got him to the train station and he went back home. So he should be on. He knows that we're streaming. But I was going to say, like, if he stayed overnight again, I was going to say, not only is he in the house, when I say in the house, he's literally in the house. And
he's in the house and he's in the house.
Yeah, exactly. You know how that goes. So anyway, tonight, oh man, another plethora of fire hose news. Just, it never ends now. It's crazy. It is crazy. Let's see. Close friends are better than distant family. Yeah, it's true. Absolutely true, brother. So let's see. Let's go over what the main stories are. We got the whole left side, but the main stories, let's go over them. Trump, he said U.S. will very soon take action on land against alleged Venezuela drug traffickers. Wow. Here's the real truth on bioengineered ingredients. I thought you guys would find this interesting, that you're seeing all over grocery stores. Newt Gingrich warns very dangerous consequences as Dems attack Trump. Yeah, because they're once again doing things. They're going on a warfare against him to do psychological.
You probably saw this week. Well, more than this week, but I think this time it was Ratchet.
Yeah,
Jasmine. I
Jasmine
can't think of anything but Ratchet.
Yeah, but we call her Ratchet.
I always call her Ratchet.
Ratchet.
And she's out there going on about how Trump is. Oh, he's obviously demented, and he's this, and he's this, and he's the other. And do you happen to remember when the slightest thing was said about Biden?
Oh yeah, they went nuts.
They were like all over the place. They crapped their own pants.
Yeah.
And oh well, that's fine. We can say that about Trump, but
yeah.
Exactly. You can't say that about Biden. We can say
about exactly. Well, also what happened, we're going to go over another one where Trump said of Tampon Tim Walz, he called him seriously retarded. And the president of the United States calling a governor seriously retarded. But you know what? If the shoe fits, right, guys? So what's going on, though, is Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, gave a response back saying something in the tune of, well, show us those MRI pictures. And I was like, what does that have to do with being called seriously retarded? What does that have to do with it? But we're dealing with Democrats, so So let's see. Are you stupid? President Trump obliterates a reporter.
I saw that.
Who asked why he blames Biden for Afghan terrorists entering the U.S. Holds up a photo of packed evacuation plane to prove his point. Exactly. I mean, holy cow! Because you know what it is. Because they try to throw everything at the wall and see what's going to stick. And nothing sticks because everything they accuse him of is false. It's all fake, phony, fraud stuff. So they want to blame him for the guy shooting the 2 National Guards and killing the girl. I don't know about the other guy. Anybody hear any news about the other? I heard he's in critical, but
no, they just this afternoon released that the young woman was
she succumbed.
Was gone.
It's a shame, yeah. But I heard the guy's in critical. I don't know. I didn't hear anything further on that. It's a shame. But and you think about it. The guy, he was let in, and they said that the press is saying this, so you don't know if it's true, right? Because that's the world we live in now. But the press is saying that he passed all the vetting checks. That he actually worked for the CIA, like he was an informant for them. Hey, what's up, 42? Good to see you, brother. Thanks for being here, man. Yeah, and so they said that he was like a CIA asset, which most of them were over there when they were working for the U.S. But that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean jack. He traveled all that distance to get to D.C. and went and did that. It's like, what the hell? So Trump is like, they're all calling him nuts now because like last week, as they were trying to insinuate Trump was going to give military illegal orders, which he's never done. Right. And you want to know something, that Kelly, I think he was a captain in the Navy.
He was captain.
Yeah. And you know what? They would reinstate him as active duty to court-martial him. And he can't. I heard Jack Posobiec on this Wheeler show. I was listening to it today. It was like the other day, but I was listening to it, and he was an officer in the Navy as well. And he pointed out, he said, they're probably going to reinstate him to active duty so they can court-martial him. And he can be court-martialed because he violated military rules.
Yeah, and the only thing about that, and you would have to talk to a Navy lawyer about this, but
what a jag.
You'd have to talk to somebody who's more familiar with this. But the thing about that is could he find a district court to put a stay on that? And of course they can, because they got all these useless. They have all these useless judges out there that would do that. So I believe it was Steve Turley, Dr. Steve Turley, that said that. Now, he's not a lawyer, and he acknowledges that, but I'd like to see him be court-martialed.
Oh, yeah. So would I. I mean, he broke the law.
Have him court-martialed and dishonorably discharged.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That'd be very
see,
nice.
the media is like immediately jumping to his side, saying, "Oh no, they have the right to remind everyone." I don't know a single. I talked to my son who's stationed down in Texas, and I asked him. I said, "What do you think about that?" He goes, "One of the first things they teach you is about illegal orders, and they tell you, like, they give you the whole spiel. They say, look, yeah, you have like a duty to disregard illegal orders. However, you got to go through chain of command when you do that. You can't just say, I'm not doing it."
Well, and if you're on the spot and you decide it's an illegal order, like somebody says, go into town and kill all the women and children,
right,
you better be on some solid ground.
Yeah,
because when that goes through the investigation, you better be 100%, because that's going to be tough. Because one of the reasons that it's made so difficult to question orders in the military is because the rank and file soldier normally doesn't have all the information.
Right.
So, but anyway, technically, yes. You can refuse illegal orders, but what's an illegal order, and prove it. And these assholes haven't mentioned word one about any illegal orders.
Exactly. Listen, I want to bring something up. My brother, like, they've been pushing this. They're pushing this thing with 2 shows going. One is it's called a Mars Studio, and the one is where it's for mobile. Okay, but we never set it up for mobile, so it looks like crap. So I'm going to end that stream. All right. I know which one it is. I'm going to end it like right now. Let me do. And guys, if it ends this stream, forgive me, but I don't think it will. There's 2 listed here, and I believe this one is the mobile one. So I want to. How do I stop it without? Yeah, it's live because it just. I haven't.
What do we do if accidentally this stream? Do we just all pile back in?
Well, no. If it does this stream, it means it's over. I would just say, don't watch that one, because
maybe you should wait.
Yeah, I'm going to, but
maybe you should wait just in case.
The other one. Yeah, I'm sorry guys for this interruption, but yeah. So now I'm in the right one because the mobile one, it actually gives you a cute little picture of a mobile device. So that is the bad one, but I mean, there's no way to turn this off too. I wrote to them and said, what the hell are you doing to me here? Because we're like split screen right now. It looks really bad, and I didn't set up for it because I didn't think I needed to. But hey, whatever. So
and Anglo, I'm with you. I prefer chicken rather than turkey, but we certainly had a good helping of turkey and prime rib yesterday.
Yeah. So you guys in the UK, 42, Anglo, you guys have a Thanksgiving Day, right? It doesn't mean the same thing, but what do you have?
I don't think so. I think that's only Canada and the US. Yeah. Our overseas cohorts, just let us know.
Okay. Yeah, it would be interesting to find out if you have something like close to it.
Yeah, because I know they don't, like in Mexico, they don't. Canada and the US. And Canada does theirs in October.
Okay. Cool.
And the US, of course, is what, the last Thursday in November.
Cool. All right. Moving on. This is actually pretty good. It's a quick video, but it's good. The most dangerous mental disease in America is TDS. And it is. Deranged libs blame Trump for National Guard shooting. Of course, because who else would they blame, right? Democrats terrified as impending sale of Warner Brothers poses major threat to CNN's liberal news empire. They could literally put like Mark Levin. They could put like any conservative on the air and kick all the libs out if that happens. Federal judges allow North Carolina to use the GOP drawn map in 2026 midterms. This is important. Yeah, this is important because hopefully in the other red states, they're going to get judges. They're going to go, you know what? It's legal. North Carolina set the precedent. I know it's not a precedent for all you.
Well, we've got the Texas one locked in.
Yeah. Now I read something, and
that was a big deal. That was a big deal.
And one of the libnut news sites, the network sites, for lack of a better word, and they said that the Democrats are outpacing Republicans on the redistricting. And the way I'm looking at it, okay, so how many how many Republicans are in California, right? How many versus how many blue is in there? It's a totally blue state, right? So
Well,
I think when the Calais, Louisiana v. Calais, I think when the Supreme Court already heard the case, and I think they're going to rule in favor of Calais, and
yeah. In
and then
California,
that means that the Democrats will lose upwards to like 18 seats practically overnight
that'd be nice.
because they're all racist drawn maps.
But in California, if you look at a county by county election map,
yeah,
there's
every state.
blue splotches along the coast, and then most of the counties are still red.
Yeah,
And
well, you look
as
at
I
Pennsylvania.
recall,
Look at Pennsylvania; it's all red too. Go ahead.
as I recall, Trump got about 35% of the vote there, or 40, about 40.
Yeah.
40 to 45% of the vote there, and guess how many representatives they send? They send like 20% of their representatives in Congress are Republican, and he got like 45, close to 45, I think.
What's up, Linda? Good to see you, Louis. What's going on, Lou? Good to see you, brother. Let's see who else is here. Yeah, we got a good number. All right. So let me just finish the rest of the DC National Guard shooting suspect. I'm not even going to attempt that name. Worked with the effing CIA in Afghanistan. I talked about it earlier. Here you go. Handouts over hard work. Illinois makes guaranteed free money program permanent. Of course they do. Because obviously, stunned scientists discover magnetic mystery creature inside an ancient fossil. Okay, Drew Warwick, hilarious Muslim crime. Is that twice up there? Oh, no. Yeah. She has Jade Warwick highlights heinous Muslim crime in Rome that legacy media will completely ignore. Seditious 6, Democrat says he will refuse to cooperate with FBI for illegal orders investigation. And he will be arrested because that's a felony. Trump unveiled if you lie to the FBI, it's considered a felony.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see some of these guys get arrested, and I'm not talking about just these 6. I'm talking about all of these guys that have just gone way over the top.
Oh yeah,
I'm waiting to see some of them.
They went beyond the pale with this one. They really did.
Well, and the D beside their name has always protected them.
I know.
Here's a question for you, Rich.
Sure.
What would it take? What would you have to be given or promised to become a Democrat?
Nothing. I would never become a Democrat. I was a Democrat years ago, and then I grew up. And now I don't like a lot of the things. I don't like a lot of the things that the Rhino Republicans do at all.
Yeah.
But,
so you were a Democrat, and then you know what's dropped, and you realized what the world was all about.
Can we talk about something else? Yeah, you're exactly right. And I just think that the Republicans and the conservatives have better ideas. That's why I consider.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think
I'm a nationalist conservative populist.
I can't think of what you'd have to give me.
Nah,
I mean,
nothing. I could never, because that party, look, that party has gone nuts. And the ones, there are still in the Democratic Party on the national level, there still are some that are rational people, but they're as much cowards against their radical left progressives as the rhinos are against MAGA people. I mean, they consider MAGA people crazy. Why? Because we love the Constitution and we want to get the country back on track again, make America great again. That's really crazy. But the fact of the matter is that the left, their fringe group, I mean, and as a matter of fact, we talked about this many times, that when a party, all throughout history, when a party goes and they start losing people, right, and they got to bring new memberships in, they always go to bring the fringe groups in because it gains their numbers. And the fact of the matter is they don't realize that the more fringe people they bring in, the more their policies turn fringe, the more the normies in the party start leaving. And that's what's been happening to the Democratic Party, which is why Joe Biden brought in a shit ton, up to 20 million, some are saying, illegals in just 4 years, which is why it's going to be very hard. It's very, very hard to get them out when they could just all run over the border and go wherever. When the Biden administration was flying them to different cities, with their Biden phone and their hands full of goodies and then putting them up in hotels, right? Causing all kinds of mayhem in economies inside blue cities. watch RPW. Nice. Yeah. So, all right. So let's go down to the next one. Trump unveils new D.C. renovation project to remove Biden filth and incompetence. I just love the way he talks. I just do. I'm sorry. They need to hear this kind of stuff. President Trump halts immigration from all third world countries, demands green card audits. Good. Tuberville calls for immediate ban on all Islam immigrants after CIA says alleged National Guard shooter worked with the agency's paramilitary units. That's the poor girl that died. I feel bad for her family. Unknown intel intercepts. Look at these jackasses. Unknown intel intercepts phone call between emissary Witkoff and Russian policy advisor Yuri Yushakov. All right. Then leaks to Bloomberg. That's from The Last Refuge. Trump unveils reverse migration plan to halt third world immigration, revoke Biden era entries. It's slightly different from the first one. And then we got the plethora, the fire hose of all the other stuff. And we'll get the other stuff too. All right, let's do the first one. So this is the Hill, leaning to the left, not totally radical crazy. Remember, John Solomon came from the Hill. Trump, U.S. will very soon take action on land against alleged Venezuela traffickers, drug traffickers. And it's about time somebody did. Right? President Trump suggested Thursday the United States will very soon, I lost my place already, will very soon take action against alleged Venezuelan drug traffickers on land after weeks of repeated strikes in Caribbean waters. And it's beyond comprehension that the libnuts are, you can't do that. How do you know they have drugs? They know they have drugs. Come on. They know it. We have spies. They have spies. All right. Quote, in recent weeks, you've been working to deter Venezuelan drug traffickers, of which there are many, Trump told military personnel in remarks on Thanksgiving. Of course, there aren't too many coming in by sea anymore, and they all laughed. I heard the speech. You probably noticed that people aren't waiting to be delivering by sea. They're wanting to be delivering by sea, and we'll be starting to stop them by land also. You got to wonder, what's he talking about? Where is he setting things up? That's why he sent the Ford group, the Gerald Ford group, the strike group, into the area off the coast. So I'm wondering, and he gave the CIA last week, he gave them the go-ahead to do operations on the ground inside Venezuela. So I'm wondering why the left hasn't screamed yet about, the president can't do that. Well, he can. Every president's done it. You have to declare war. He's not going to war. He's going to stop. It's a drug interdiction, if you think about it. His comments come after the military's decision to position the USS Gerald R. Ford in the region earlier this month. Quote, the enhanced U.S. force presence in the U.S. Southcom AOR will bolster U.S. capacity to detect, monitor, and disrupt illicit actors and activities that compromise the safety and prosperity of the United States homeland and our security in the Western Hemisphere. Chief Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell said in a statement, these forces will enhance and augment existing capabilities to disrupt narcotics trafficking and degrade and dismantle transnational criminal organizations. It's going to come back to, Trump could cure cancer and the Democrats would come out in support of cancer. So they're going to bitch about this eventually. We all know they are. But they put themselves in a corner.
Yeah, we know how they work, though. Like you said, he could cure cancer and AIDS, and they'd have something bad to say about it.
Oh yeah, I know. We talked about that. Yeah, we did. We talked about the two. I was going to stop the one, but I don't know what it would do. There's no way that I learned how to shut it off. Let me do it. If this ends, we got like 19 people now. If this ends, then I'm just gonna start it up again.
Yeah, just start it up again.
Make
sure if it ends, make sure to send me a new link.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I'm gonna delete this now. And yes, I understand. Delete forever. Are we still live? Hello? Yeah, we're still live. All right, that should be gone. Hopefully, it should be.
When I look on YouTube, I see a normal screen, but
yeah, I do too.
When I look at
hey Pam, what's up? Yeah, it's because when you come in now, it says you're entering a Mars studio. I forget what the acronym stands for.
I'm still seeing this.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, but
give it a minute.
Yeah. Oh, but this is StreamYard.
Yeah, we'll give it a minute because it's buffering through right now. So hit refresh.
And
because that's gone. The other one's gone. Yeah.
It's no longer in the listing.
Yeah, I know it's not there. It'll take a couple minutes to go.
It's no longer in the listings.
Right. Sorry about that, guys. It's just that drove me a little insane last week. We got more views on the mobile one too, but it's not set up. You know, I mean, me and Jade, our heads are like splitting together. It's like, damn. All right. So here's the real truth on bioengineered ingredients you're seeing all over grocery stores. That's the next one we're going to do. I'm going to pop it up. All right. It has bioengineered food ingredient. All right. So remember, did you hear the Campbell's soup thing that went on?
I did.
Oh, man.
And this was a high up in the company.
I know. You know what? You ever hear of Mrs. Paul's fish? The fish company? It's frozen fish.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, you never heard of them? Okay, it was Mrs. Paul's, and they were very big on frozen fish in the supermarket. You buy, in the frozen food section, and they were bought out by Campbell's like a while ago. But I used to hang out with it was Mrs. Paul's, but her real name was Mrs. Piesniak. And the lawyer said, I think that people would like Mrs. Paul's better than buying Mrs. Piesniak fish food, right? And so her granddaughter, right, Mrs. Paul's granddaughter, was a girl that I hung out with a few times who was absolutely out of her mind, like spoiled rich kid thing going on. But she was a nice person, but she was just totally out of her mind. And she was talking about how Campbell's, that she was saying the things that this guy said, that they make it for poor people and it's not healthy at all. She said, and this, I'm going back 18 years or so.
And this is Campbell's.
Yeah, Campbell's. Yeah. So, because her family had a problem with it, but they had to sell for whatever reason. All right, the Campbell Soup panic sent half the country into a food meltdown. One photo of a label that said bioengineered meat, and suddenly everyone thought Big Food was pumping out lab-grown mystery protein designed by the USDA and cooked it up in a bunker somewhere. That is not happening. Although, in all fairness, the Campbell's executive was probably right when he admitted the product itself was garbage. I mean, therefore I am, says. It says, breaking. Campbell's Soup VP and Chief Information Security Officer, my God, he's fired, right? Martin Bailey was secretly recorded saying the company uses bioengineered meat, their products aren't healthy, and that it's mostly poor people who buy them. Well, we knew that. Yes, we have shit. Let's go back out here now. Here we go. It's loading up. We have shit for effing food, poor people. Who buys our S? I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. This is a guy that's like one of the top executives. It's not healthy now that I know what the F's in it. Bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a effing piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer. Let's see if we can hear it.
A former Campbell's Soup Company employee is taking legal action against the food giant, and he's making some explosive allegations about one of its top executives. Good evening, and thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Ty Steele.
I'm Kimberly Gill. Those allegations are now at the center of a lawsuit claiming the company's vice president went on an hour-long tirade attacking the company's products and employees before taking aim at its customers.
And the former employee recorded it all. Eric Erickson shares that recording and what the company is saying about it.
There we go.
We have shit for poor people. Who buys our shit?
And that's just part of an over an hour-long rant, says former security analyst for Campbell's, Robert Garza of Monroe.
I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. It's healthy. Now that I know what the in it. Even in a can of soup, I look at meat, bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer.
The recording allegedly of Campbell's VP and Chief Information Security Officer Martin Bally.
He has no filter.
Bally, along with another supervisor and Campbell Soup Company, named in a lawsuit filed Thursday. The suit claiming Bally made racist remarks admits to coming to work high, and Garza fired for coming forward.
What do you think about the things that he was saying?
Oh, just pure disgust.
Garza says he usually worked remotely for Campbell's headquarters based in Camden, New Jersey. But thinking he'd be discussing his salary with Bally, he says the recording taken in person at a restaurant.
Yeah.
They could have think for the
Garza says he felt sick after the rant, deciding to go to his direct supervisor in January, keeping the recordings to himself.
He had never had any disciplinary action. They had never written him up for poor work performance.
Garza says no one at Campbell's
But no one's saying, but he was right.
ever followed up, and it's taken him 10 months to find a new job, calling the way the canned soup company handled it simply terrible.
They have a motto, like we treat you like family, here at Campbell's, come work for us, we treat our employees like family. That's not the case.
We did just receive a statement from Campbell's that says, quote, if accurate, the comments in the recording are unacceptable. They do not reflect our values and the culture of our company. We are actively investigating this matter.
Which means please continue to buy our food and disregard all the truth that the guy said.
We've also reached out directly to Martin Valley.
Wow.
Which means we're putting the spin on, babes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Linda, this is like just the other day. Yeah, this happened like just the other day when he said this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and it caused like a panic. Because you know what's going to happen? RFK Jr. is going to come bursting through the door with like a cape on, right? With a big R on it. And he's going to be like, and he's going to be like, now we're going to check every other goddamn food out there. That's going to happen, right? So silver prices are almost the content. Okay, cool. All right. Is that your dog?
Yep, I got a dog in the back there, in the back.
Okay, cool.
Our grand puppy. We borrow a dog every now and then.
There you go. All right, so let's.
So she's come to visit for the week.
Oh, nice. Here you go from Conservative Brief, which is pretty good. I like them. Gingrich warns of very dangerous consequences as Dems attack Trump. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich is warning that Democrats' very dangerous rhetoric and behavior could lead to something serious against President Donald Trump. It's true, because when you ramp up the rhetoric the way the Democrats do, they got freaking lunatics on their side. I mean, true lunatics on their side that will take pop shots at them, because they have, right? I mean, they got some crazy people, and that's what he's warning about. During an interview on Fox, is there a yeah, they don't do video. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, they did. Let's play the video instead.
All right, here with reaction, Fox News contributor, former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. If you're nice to me, I'll let you drive my new Tesla.
Turn the volume up.
I can't.
I'm with her. I think
Oh,
a
there.
Cybertruck would
Right,
really have been you.
I looked.
You could have put Sean on the side of it.
Can't increase the
Is that what I should put? So that then I become the target. Thank you very much. I just like fast cars. What can I tell you? But all right, so you see all of this happening. You have discussed that they're the party of crazy. Hakeem Jeffries says, well, we got the Republicans on the run. I'll get into this in more detail. Are Republicans on the run? Did we see them on the run last Tuesday night? What did you see Tuesday night?
Okay, I think that everything you showed earlier reflects what Lincoln said at Gettysburg when he said this is a test of whether this system or any system so conceived in liberty can survive. You have a hardline group who believe that they have the right to be violent, that they have the right to deny the American people the choice of their leadership, that they have the right to break the law. The answer to all of that is, frankly, you have to lock them up. You have to enforce the law, period. And at some point, people begin to realize that you can't wage war against the entire American people. And in that sense, I would argue that Elon Musk is simply one of the people serving the American people. He's a senior advisor to the president of the United States. And I think that in that sense, all of this is totally unacceptable, as is harassing a Supreme Court justice or harassing the vice president and his 3-year-old. What I saw the other night is, Calista and I were there, when the president spoke to the Congress, we were actually sitting directly above the House Democrats. And I wrote at Gingrich 360 a newsletter describing them, saying that the House Democrats were sort of zombie Democrats. They couldn't applaud anything. Couldn't applaud the president. They couldn't applaud a 13-year-old cancer survivor. They couldn't applaud a young man who wanted.
I remember that.
They couldn't applaud people who were there who had lost loved ones. It was pretty bizarre. And I think that, Hakeem Jeffries may think, look, he has to say these things. He's their leader. What's he going to say? But the fact is, the Democrats currently have no solutions. They are so enraged that Trump is actually changing what overwhelmingly Americans believe is a corrupt system. And I'll just give you one piece of data. Our America's New Majority Project just had a poll come out yesterday. 82% of the American people believe the system is corrupt.
Yeah.
Now that's dangerous both for the survival of freedom, but also it tells you the Democrats who want to defend the bureaucracy and the corruption and the waste, they're going to have a big mountain to climb come 2026.
Yeah, they're going to have a big mountain to climb. Do you think, holding up their bingo paddles and not standing for moms that lost their children, or a 12-year-old young man that that won his battle with cancer and became a Secret Service agent, all the other people that were honored, the American people see that. How do they react to that? Because that is soulless. You have to. I can't imagine, if you have a heart, mind, conscience, and soul, you'd ever act that way. And not one of them stood. Nobody clapped. They just listened to their leadership. You were in the room.
Look, I had the opposite experience. I was the Speaker of the House sitting behind Bill Clinton when he got up in '96 and said, the era of big government is over.
Yeah.
Now, I had to stand up and applaud. I mean, how can you not applaud that if you're a conservative?
Yeah.
You're right.
And so in all the years I went, whether it was Reagan, Carter, George H.W., Clinton, in all the time I went, I don't remember Republicans ever failing to stand for the president, because we're standing for the office. We're not standing for the individual. We're standing for the elected official of the American people. And I think to not do that begins to show an alienation that's very dangerous.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just surprised that Newt Gingrich is still functioning.
Why?
He's not young.
Oh, okay. Well,
And he's still around. I'm surprised he's not retired.
Yeah. Hey, what's up?
Because he's not young.
Yeah, I know. But he's still got his wits about him. He doesn't live here. He lives over in Europe. I think he lives in Italy.
Does he?
Yeah. Yeah. His wife is from Italy, and so they moved over there. But he comes over here every now and then, but he doesn't really have to.
You'd think that might be tough for a conservative.
Yeah, really.
Although Italy is, I guess, given.
Well, we got a story tonight. As a matter of fact, when someone sent it to me yesterday, I was like, how can Georgia Maloney allow that? What's going on? I'll get into that after this.
Because Georgia Maloney, it tends to be more conservative than most.
Oh, yeah. More family oriented.
Yeah.
There you go. Are you stupid? President Trump obliterates a reporter who asks why he blames Biden for Afghan terrorists entering the U.S. Holds up a photo. Let's see. Is there a video that avoids all that? Yeah, here we go. It's probably like 2 seconds long. So let me go out here and share it. That way I can increase it.
Thousands and thousands and thousands.
Here we go.
Why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let them in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. And there's a law passed that it's almost impossible not to get them out. You can't get them out once they come in. And they came in, and they were unvetted, they were unchecked. There were many of them, and they came in on big planes, and it was disgraceful. And if you look, you'll see there was a law passed. It makes it almost impossible not to let them in, not to certify them, so to speak, once they come in. And they came in, and they shouldn't have come in. And frankly, the whole thing was a mess. The whole Afghanistan situation was a mess. It should have never taken place.
Yeah.
if we're going to go out, and we would have gone out because I had everybody ready to go. We were going to go out with strength and dignity and precision, and we would have left from Bagram, and we would have kept Bagram, by the way, because of its very close relationship to China and where they make their missiles. But when you let the people come in by the thousands and thousands and thousands, they made a terrible mistake.
Yeah. Totally incompetent people. I like how he talks now. You know what it is? He's a lame duck. He's not acting like a lame duck, but he can't get elected again, so he just doesn't care anymore. He just are you stupid? I know, he's hysterical. He really is.
I mean, somebody said him getting angry about that National Guardsman getting killed really has kind of brought MAGA back together.
It has. It really has.
Because he's had words to say about it. And, none of them were,
Yeah. Here's the next one. Most dangerous mental disease in America is TDS. So let's go. Jet here. TDS isn't a joke anymore. It's a full-blown psychological event. There are psychiatrists that say, yeah, it's real. And the data coming out of actual therapy rooms proves it. Let's get into it. A New York psychotherapist just went public saying 3/4 of his current patients are showing symptoms of Trump derangement syndrome, not political disagreements, not, I don't like this guy, full-on emotional meltdowns, obsession, sleeplessness, rage, panic, dread, and in extreme cases, an inability to function in normal life because Trump exists somewhere on a screen. God, you have to love that. And the people melting down the hardest are the ones who preach empathy, tolerance, and emotional stability the loudest. Yeah, they're virtue signalers. But here's the best part. The second this therapist mentioned TDS, his inbox filled with death threats, slurs, and unhinged rage, all from the crowd that swears they're the calm, rational side of America. Right. If you want to understand how deep this goes, look at the high-profile sufferer, Stephen King, who once wrote some of the greatest fiction ever made. Now, his timeline is pure TDS theater, including fake news, wild predictions, and rants that read like a man arguing with ghosts that only he can see. Keith Olbermann, the king of the progressive morons in news. I think he was fired from every job he ever had. Keith Olbermann was once a respected broadcaster, for baseball. And he should go back to doing baseball because he was very good as a baseball broadcaster. But with news, forget about it. Today, he's basically a human fire alarm who screams into the void, blocks half the country, and posts accusations that fall apart the moment a fact enters the chat. It's true. John Cleese, I used to love him too, but now he's a total lefty. A comedic genius now spends his days posting political hallucinations like someone trapped in a fever dream about fascism, hiding behind every park bench. These are not dumb men. They're not low IQ extremists. They're simply infected with the same emotional virus that's ripping through therapy offices and social circles across the country. TDS has become its own ecosystem. People feed off each other's panic. They validate each other's delusions. They escalate every political disagreement into a doomsday prophecy. It's true. I liken it to when you hear Muslims arguing against each other, they're trying to top each other for, I will kill this many Jews. I will kill all the Jews. Well, this is what TDS guys do. They have to be like the top of the totem pole as far as saying horrific things about Trump. It's just crazy to watch,
and you have to get the maximum number of victim points too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's total theater, political theater at its best. And the real danger is that once TDS takes hold, you can't reason with the person anymore. They're not hearing you. They're hearing whatever their fear and the voices in their head tells them that you really mean. That's why friendships are breaking up and families are splitting. These TDS freaks are literally losing their jobs because they can't control their emotions over a political figure. If you think that's normal, I'm here to tell you it's not. But see, it's because the media is responsible for a lot of the crap that goes on in this country because they were able to lie about everything that Trump did. And a lot of people, the people with the TDS, they believe it and they just don't want to come to the rationalization of, no, it's not true and we have the proof. They won't listen to your proof. I mean, Yuri Bezmenov told us about this day would come, and it's here. But the really scary part is the violence that's happening, all because mentally unbalanced people on the left are acting on political hallucinations instead of living in reality with the rest of us. TDS is spread like a zombie outbreak. Think about it. Otherwise, normal educated people get bitten by the TDS monster, and suddenly they believe Trump will confiscate passports, install himself as king, ban elections, lock up random civilians, yada, yada. These are epic and disturbing fantasies, but they make logical sense inside the TDS echo chamber. And if you don't acknowledge this problem, it will keep growing. America is dealing with a mental contagion, not a political disagreement. We need clarity. We need calm. We need a cure. And the first step is admitting this disease is real. And thankfully, this medical professional is starting that conversation. You got to love this.
If you are suffering from a swollen prostate and always running to the bathroom to pee,
not yelling
you
at
must
Rumble,
watch
just saying
your
I don't have a premium.
Butter is not butter is not butter. Can you spot the difference between these two butters? One's
People are absolutely crazed. Trump derangement syndrome.
This is Trump derangement syndrome. Nothing more, nothing less, nothing else.
Trump derangement syndrome.
Trump derangement syndrome.
Because they have Trump derangement syndrome.
Well, we hear it a lot. Trump derangement syndrome on online definition calls. It irrational, extreme, or emotionally driven reactions to President Trump. Some of you have seen it up close. Some of these people are your relatives. Someone said to Harvard TDS is overwhelmed by dislike or fear of the president, that they lose objectivity, overreact, or interpret everything he does in the worst possible light. Psychotherapist Jonathan Alpert says he has seen this effect firsthand. In a Wall Street Journal piece, he writes, quote, "No serious mental health professional would render such a partisan and derogatory diagnosis. Yet, I've seen it in my own psychotherapy practice," end of quote. Jonathan is in focus with me now. So first of all, identify it for us. You're in a session and you pick up on what?
Well, Harris, it doesn't take long for me to pick up on this. People are obsessed with Trump. They're fixated. They're hyper fixated on Trump, and they talk about some of the features of this disorder. They can't sleep. They feel traumatized by Mr. Trump. They feel restless. I had one patient who said she couldn't enjoy a vacation because anytime she saw Trump in the news or on her device, she felt triggered. So this is a profound pathology, and I would even go so far as to call it the defining pathology of our time.
These people come to you for the things that you described. Can't sleep, traumatized, perhaps depression. I don't want to put words in your mouth. But at first, you are there to treat an illness, a disorder of some kind. And what you figure out is the trigger.
Well, and Trump is the trigger for many of these people. And to be that fixated on a figure, on a person, it's simply not healthy. And our country has strayed so far away from where we once were. If you look at in the 80s when President Reagan was shot, people were united. He famously said, "I hope you're all Republicans," to the surgeons. And the response was, "Today, Mr. President, we're all..."
Yeah, but look at these people. They're dressed up in the Handmaid's Tale because they always said that that's what America would look like. The Handmaid's Tale, right? They said that America is going to resemble that if Trump ever gets elected. And I'm like, wait a minute. They took away free speech. They made you a slave. That's Democrat Party material right there.
Republicans. But our country has lost that. We've strayed so far from that unity.
Mm-hmm. And what do you see? Because you told me off camera, 3/4 of your patient load right now has what you're calling this TDS.
Well, 3/4 of my patients will present with a lot of these symptoms, and within probably 5 minutes of seeing me, their hatred for Trump comes up. So if you're that hyper-focused on Trump, that's a real issue, and it's worth being treated.
In fact, you recently wrote another piece for the Wall Street Journal. Politics make for bad therapy when practitioners indulge their own biases. Patients can become more anxious and depressed. So you think this is working its way into your medical field?
Oh, absolutely. My profession is a huge part of the problem. Therapists, the people who are supposed to be helping people, are actually dividing this country. If you go back a year ago, there was one psychiatrist who actually told people on national TV, if you don't like the way that your relative or friend voted, cut them out of your life.
I remember covering.
And that's not healthy. That's not how I would advise a patient at all.
All right. And in terms of, because I'm sure people are watching, so what do you do to cure your patients of TDS? I mean, because they're presenting with these other things that are in your wheelhouse. Like, how do you help somebody who's too depressed to sleep?
So similar to other obsessive disorders, it's important to help them separate fact from fiction. So one of the big tasks that I have is to try to educate these patients and dispel a lot of their beliefs. Trump is not a Nazi. He's not rounding up the gays and shipping them off to some faraway land. So a lot of my time as a therapist is spent trying to correct these people's beliefs. And then the other problem is they're echo chambers. These people are on social media and they're only surrounding themselves with one view. So it's important that they understand the full picture.
We have just 5-10 seconds left. Do you worry about people?
I do worry about people. And if this trend continues, I do believe our country will only become more divided. So we really need to get a grip on this.
All right. Jonathan Alpert, thank you.
Yeah. Man. Good Lord. What are we dealing with here? Crazy, huh?
Yeah, it reminds me, it's kind of the antithesis of fandom, where somebody is a fan and a fan of some movie star or singer or whatever, and then they do something or somebody insults them, and this person will be like crying, how could you insult Brittany? And
Right.
And this is this is the opposite. The fan thinks that they can do no bad.
I know.
These people think he can do no good.
Well, they have preconceived notions of Trump, the left, and they always have since the day he came down the escalator, because they knew what he stood for, and it wasn't their game. He wasn't playing their game. He couldn't be bought, couldn't be controlled. They couldn't have that. And he wanted to make America great again. And they knew what that meant. They would lose all power, all control over people. That's what they feared. They still fear it.
And the
That's
ones
why they
most
fight him at every turn, they fight him.
The ones most against him were the Republicans, the rhinos.
The rhinos were, because you know why? Because he didn't kiss the brass ring.
Yeah,
See,
because
he didn't ask them, hey, can you vet me? Do you think I can run for office? No, he just ran for office.
I could put it even more simply, because they're all members of the Uniparty.
Yeah, they are.
And he is not.
Right. He said, I'm not going to do that.
He's a Republican. He's a conservative. He's a populist.
Yep.
He's sure not a member of the Uniparty.
That is true. All right. Democrats terrified. They're terrified. As impending sale of Warner Brothers poses major threat to CNN's liberal news empire. It's giant corporations. I'm so angry. A possible merger between Paramount Skydance and Warner Brothers Discovery is making liberal politicians in Congress and in the media sweat bullets, as the deal would consolidate power and control of several major news networks and entertainment outlets under one conglomerate. In other words, it would end their biggest propaganda producers. Imagine news outlets striving to remain as neutral as possible. They can't do it. And presenting viewers with the unvarnished truth instead of twisting narratives and brainwashing voters. CNN, and especially MSNBC, I mean, that's the kook network. I don't see them doing it. What a novel idea, right? Everyone's favorite patsy, white and definitely not Native American Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, along with the Writers Guild of America, currently opposes the sale of Warner Brothers Discovery to Paramount Skydance. Warren shredded the proposal on November 15th, saying it would put dozens of major news and entertainment outlets under one company and calling it a terrible deal. Has she?
Well, she probably wouldn't think it's a terrible deal if they were the ones controlling that one company.
That's exactly correct. If the deal goes through, Paramount Skydance would take control of CNN, which Warner Brothers Discovery currently owns. CEO David Ellison leads the company backed by his father, Larry Ellison, a staunch ally of President Donald Trump and co-founder of Oracle. I think it's safe to say Larry Ellison and his son would make major changes to the far left-leaning CNN if they got a hold of it. That's why I was saying earlier, you'll see Mark Levin on there, probably Jack Posobiec. Like you'll see all conservatives on there. Like if they do it, they'll get rid of everybody. All of which
what they should do is keep a couple of the
dinosaurs around.
The leftist wingnuts.
So, the dinosaurs, right? Put them on at 3:00 in the morning.
No. What you do is you do the opposite of what's his name? Scott Jennings. That show. What is it called? The Five or something?
Yeah, it's Abby Smith's show.
Yeah, Abby Phillips. Yeah.
Abby Phillips,
so you do the opposite, and you put this guy and let him spout ridiculous things for 10, 15 minutes, and then you tear it up.
Well, they do that. It's called The Five on Fox.
Yeah, and
except that all conservatives and one nitwit libnut.
Okay.
That they rip apart.
That's right.
Tarloff is usually the one libnut that they love to rip off because she's crazy. Okay, so all of which an American viewing audience, sick and tired of being told both how and what to think by biased media outlets, would welcome. Several sources close to the situation say the Ellisons don't just want CNN for financial gain, but intend to overhaul its editorial direction. No greater revenge for conservatives exists than seizing control of one of their biggest enemies and anti-Trump propaganda makers. You know why they're still around? Like with their ratings going through the floor, right? Because on every cable bill, you pay $1 for CNN. Even if you don't want to watch it, you're paying $1 because that's their deal. Well, they're on a shit ton of televisions in like every airport in the country, nay, the world, right? And there are over 80 million people who have cable. So that's $80 million a month they have for doing nothing other than being on the cable network. So that's $80 million. I think it's like 86 now, but it's like $80 million they make just okay, because people watch it at airports and train stations, bus stations. So think about that, right? If they take over and they take that away, I would love to see them turn CNN into a conservative network. Analysts estimate that it pulls in 500 million a year and reaches viewers all over the world, making a lucrative asset for the Ellisons as well. Quote, multiple accounts indicate that the Ellisons' interest in CNN aligns with the broader effort to reshape media institutions long perceived as dominated by left-wing narratives. Barry Weiss, you remember who Barry Weiss was? She was one of the independent journalists, I believe it was Barry Weiss, who they did the Twitter dump files with Matt Taibbi. She was she was an independent journalist that they gave.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, she was a former New York Times columnist and current editor-in-chief of CBS. All right, they brought her in there. Has taken on the task of squeezing left-wing bias out of CBS's news programming. How about that? Sources familiar with the bid say that should Paramount Skydance win the bidding war, Weiss could potentially include CNN in her editorial oversight. Oh, that would be awesome. We don't need to read anymore. We know.
Yeah, the only one that I really well, let's see. Let's make a list. Who do we really, really never want to see again? How about Potato Head?
Which one? That's a very vague.
Very inclusive.
So many.
Very inclusive.
So many.
Yeah. Brian Stelter. Brian Stelter.
Yeah. Brian Stelter. I can't believe they brought him back.
Yeah, Brian Stelter. I would like nothing more than to never hear of him again.
Yeah, no. Well, they already got rid of
Joy
Don
Reid.
Lamar.
Joy Reid.
Well, Joy Reid's gone. Yeah,
she's gone.
She's on MSNBC, but she's gone.
She's still mouthing off. She's got like 20 million followers or whatever.
Yeah.
Just
let
like
her
go away.
Yeah, let her have her fun. She won't be on. I don't think she'll be on another network. She's too racist. Yeah, guys, I said it. She's a racist. Everything before I even knew who she was, I think I was over my mother's house and she had CNN on a TV and she wasn't watching, just listening. And I heard this woman, And everything she complained about, she said, oh, it's because they're against brown people. It was always brown people, brown. And I'm like, what the hell is she talking about? And I found out later on that it was Joy Reid, and that's all she did.
Yep.
Was
And
it was
then-
all race with her.
And then every one of them on The View.
Yeah, The View. Oh, I would like to see. Oh man, that would be nice to see them go.
Every one of them on The View. That they
on network news though.
They are like a special kind of bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, special kind of loser. Yeah.
They're really kind of a special kind of bottom of the barrel. They are not very bright, not very clever, and
they suffer from TDS more than anybody else.
Oh yeah, and the problem is they think they're smart.
Yeah.
I think that's called the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Yeah, the Dunning-Kruger effect. The less you know about a topic, the more
dumb
you act
people
like,
thinking they're smart.
You act like you're an authority. Yeah, and that definitely describes Democrats and some rhinos as well. Yeah.
But yeah.
Rhinos as well. All right, next one. We are doing. This is a good story. Federal judges. It's just the news. It's Solomon's gig. Federal judges allow North Carolina to use the GOP-drawn map in 2026 midterms, and I think this is very important. A panel of federal judges ruled Wednesday that North Carolina can use its recently redrawn congressional map for the 2026 midterms, which could give Republicans another seat in the House. The U.S. District Court for the Middle District of North Carolina unanimously approved. You know why? Article 1, Section 4 says the legislature, whoever runs the legislature, is allowed to do redistricting. Yeah, but they didn't do it on the decade end. Doesn't matter. There's nothing in the Constitution that says when they have to do it. It doesn't matter. So they approved the map. What's that?
No, yeah, and the interesting thing is you can't draw the maps along racial lines, but you can draw maps to favor political parties.
Yeah,
that is legal.
You're right. That was the argument. But see, the problem is the argument in what was it, Thornburg v. Gingles back in 1986, which they looked at the Voting Rights Act of '65 and they tried to say, well, they have this dilution problem. So they have black people that live in a district, and there's too many white people, so it's diluting their vote. And I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, isn't it about community? Everybody lives together in the same district. Like you like have a lot more in common than you do with other districts, especially in other states. Right, we're all Americans, but you have the way you live, the sheriff that you vote for, the school board that you pass, right? All that crap inside your district, right? But they said, no. They literally admitted, we black people, we vote differently than white people. And so we don't get our voice out if there's too many white people that cancel our votes. Well, that's called living in democracy, right? I know we live in a republic, but that's called democracy, right? They don't like democracy. This is why I don't like democracy. Democracy is majority rule.
Democracy is three wolves and a sheep deciding what's for dinner.
Right. I always say the other. I always say that democracy is three guys who just voted. That two of them just voted. They get to keep everything the third guy owns and beat the living shit out of him every Friday night. That's democracy. There's no protection for a minority. Okay. Whereas with a constitutional republic, you have a constitution. Everybody is protected by the same rights under the Constitution. Well, they want a democracy. Okay, so you got one. So then they bitched and complained about it in Gingles. And the court, the bad court back then, said, okay, so you can create minority districts. What the hell does that mean? That means the majority of the district are minorities. You can't have that. You're either a majority or you're a minority. You can't have both. All right, but in their novel idea, you could. And so the Democrats abused that ruling and started making racially made districts. It was racist. It was saying it's based on race. Well, they were trying to stop Texas from doing it, and Texas argued successfully. They said, no, we're doing it on political, because politics you're allowed to, because the Constitution says that whoever has the majority in the state legislature, Article 1, Section 4 says state legislature has the authority. They have the power to do election laws. And the Democrats don't like that when they don't have the power. They can dish it out, but they can't take it. It's that kind of mentality. So U.S. District Court for the Middle, they unanimously approved a 57-page ruling stating the plaintiffs failed to prove that the maps were redrawn for racial reasons or as political retaliation. Now, see, I think this is important because, I mean, What is a racist to these Democrats? Anybody who disagrees with the Black American, that's a racist. Well, that era is leaving, and you know why? Because Black Americans have made it. All right, we got Black Americans kicking ass, and they're doing really well. For themselves, for their families, for America, right?
And you know what a lot of them are asking?
What's that?
What have the Democrats done for me lately?
Yeah, exactly.
Or
exactly
ever.
right.
Or ever.
Right. It always amazed me. The party of slavery was able, like they said, the devil's greatest trick was to make you believe that he didn't exist. Well, that's what the Democrats did. They treated Black Americans horrifically, and yet they convinced all of America that it was America that treated them horrifically. No, it wasn't. It was the Democratic Party, right? The GOP was the abolitionist party, and they never changed their stance on civil rights ever.
Well, and then the Democrats tried to convince you that all of the KKK and racists transferred to the Republican Party.
Yeah, the Southern strategy, that's all horseshit. It was all horseshit. The Southern strategy was nothing more than President Nixon asking Southern Democrats, why do you keep voting for Democrats who create racist laws? That's all it was. But they come in and they didn't get I think the first state went red in, what was it, 86? So yeah, that's really some Southern strategy you got there, right? It really worked, didn't it? Right. And as a matter of fact, the South got less racist as it became more conservative. That is a fact. And remember when the Dems lost their ever hating minds, like a few years back, when the Supreme Court, they took some things out of the Voting Rights Act because they said they're not necessary anymore. Oh my God, we're going to go back to the thing. No, you're not, knucklehead, because conservative Republicans are controlling the South now. They're not racist like you a-holes always were. Right? So I'm sick of hearing it.
Yeah,
Right?
but
So
they can't stand it. They walk into a church and it's all white and they just go ballistic. Same thing with an office, same thing, and okay, there's some churches that are all Black.
Right.
And
nobody complains.
Yeah, and it's like, that's fine. And if they're decent Christians, if you happen to be white, they'll welcome you.
Yeah.
And most of them will.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's
Absolutely.
there's whack jobs, but
especially in the South.
Yeah, but if you're a good person and you go to one of these churches, they will welcome you normally.
Yeah, they're not going to kick you out. In fact, we do a breakfast. We do the God, I can't remember what it's called now. It's a Christian breakfast that you do, and we go over to a Black church a couple townships over, and we have an awesome time. The people there, I've gone to 2 of them already.
The only thing that comes to mind is they may welcome you, but they may have suspicion, because I recall, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he went into the Black church and he went in and sat down, and after a bit he shot up some people in the church.
Yeah, it's Ryan Roof.
That's right.
Was that name Ryan? Oh no, it was Roof, but and they're trying to.
I don't remember.
No, he wasn't.
No, wasn't Ryan Ruth? I can't remember.
Not Ryan Routh. His name was Ruth. Roof. ROOF.
I can't remember. But I remember that incident.
Dylan Roof. That was his name.
Okay, there you go.
Dylan Roof.
That sounds better.
Yeah.
And so, they might be suspicious if you just walk in and they don't know you, but, good Christians will welcome you.
Yeah. What's up, sis? My sister's in the house, guys. Carry in. Yeah. Let's continue with this. The Republican-dominated state legislature, Article 1, Section 4, last month passed the new map, which would likely help Republicans flip Democrat North Carolina Representative Don Davis's district. So what? They did. And you know what kills me? Democrats do redistricting in their party's favor every single time. When the Republicans, it's okay when we do it. When the Republicans go, it's not fair, go to court. The Republicans don't go to court when they do something legal. It's just they do, because they think, we can Because they're so used to getting a rogue judge, a rogue leftist judge to rule for them, that they just hey, let's go. Maybe we'll get an outcome. Everything we can't get legislatively, right? Quote, we find that plaintiffs have not made a clear showing that the General Assembly likely enacted SB 249 with the intent to minimize or cancel out the voting potential of Black North Carolinians, the three judges wrote. We therefore deny their motion for a preliminary injunction on their 14th Amendment intentional vote dilution claim. Now, here's the thing, okay? I talked about it's Louisiana v. Calais, all right? And in Calais, they say their 14th and 15th amendment rights are being destroyed by racist Democrat districts. And they are. And so that's why I think that the court is going to side with Calais. And I hope they do, because you get rid of that. You can't have racist. You can't say in the name of the vote. The Voting Rights Act was a very good thing because it was noble. It said Black Americans have the right to go vote for who they want to represent them without Democrats fucking with them. It's that simple. Right? It was a very noble thing, but the Democrats really destroyed it with the Gingles case, and they abused it. That's why they've been a majority party throughout the country since '86, because they abused the Gingles ruling by making majority-minority districts based on race. And so now, think about the gall of these people. Now they're trying to say that in North Carolina, they used race. When they used race in North Carolina since '86, to knock out districts and create their own, right? I mean, it just takes balls to be like that, but we're dealing with Democrats. We therefore deny the motion, dilution claim, yeah. This is beautiful because now America's finally getting over this bullshit of, well, you can't say anything because it's like you'd say, and so I was talking about this guy that's running for Congress, and he's a And, it's like now you can say things. You can go, look, the guy's an asshole. He thinks that they should be able to racially district, for their party. But we can't say, no, that's wrong. Racism is wrong. Remember, guys, we fought the whole 1960s thing. Like, come on. And that's what we're seeing right now. But what the beautiful thing is that more Americans are noticing this. They're sitting up and going, look at the guys that are like fighting. They're taken to court because they want racist districting. How about that? And so more and more people are stepping up and going, no. The new redistricting lines are expected to give the GOP a 11-3 edge in congressional representation in North Carolina. Wow, that's a super majority. That's pretty good. All right, well, I like it because I think that other states will follow suit. I hope they follow suit. Happy Turkey Day. Let's see. Yes, it is. Yeah. All right. So what's next? Let's take a look at that. Where can we go? Yeah, let's do the handouts one. That's going to be good. There we go. Liberty Daily, which is a great. I know I'm running this stream off my own site and aggregate site, and here they're doing handouts over. This is a good site though. Check them out. The Liberty Daily. Handouts over hard work. Illinois makes guaranteed free money program permanent. Can you believe this? You know why? Because they've run out of ideas politically. So they go, we'll just buy your votes. They've been doing that for a year, right? In the heart of America's industrial Midwest, where factories once hummed with the grit of working class pride, Democrats took over and fucked it all. All right, Cook County, Illinois, has just locked in a bold experiment that's got economists and everyday taxpayers scratching their heads. Last week, the county board unanimously greenlit $7.5 million to turn a temporary handout. What's all that noise? What's going on?
It might be. I put my phone down. It might have been that.
Oh, all right. Yeah, it's kind of loud. Sorry. $7.5 million to turn a temporary handout program into a permanent fixture, doling out monthly cash to low-income residents without the strings of job requirements or time limits. See, And a lot of those people will go, oh, this is awesome. They care about it. No, they don't. They keep you dependent on government, which means that all your neighbors are paying for you to live. How do you like that? Oh, I don't care as long as I can live. I mean, that's the mentality of these people, the Democrats. So that they're buying your vote, jackass. Instead of building up your community so you can get a job or start a business. You know, and you want to know something I learned from Sonny Johnson on Sirius XM. She pointed out that in a lot of black cities, okay, blue-run black neighborhood cities, that a lot of black people would love to start a business that they would probably freaking thrive in. But their Democrats create these local laws that make it nearly impossible for them to start a business. And then they'll just cry out, it's the white racism of in the governor's seat. You know, it's like, wait a minute, you're the people that are creating these roadblocks for these neighborhoods. And yet you want to blame racism? What's wrong with you? But a lot of people are waking up to that. It's a move pitched as compassion in action, but one that raises tough questions about whether it's building ladders out of opportunity or just tossing free cash that keeps folks treading water. Yes, it keeps them treading water, but it keeps them coming back to the trial. You know, give me money next year, I'll vote for it. But this isn't some fly-by-night trial. Back in 2022, Cook County tapped $42 million from the Federal American Rescue Plan. We ain't getting that under Trump, to kick off what was then the nation's largest publicly funded guaranteed income effort. Over 2 years, 3,250 households got $500 a month, no questions asked. Early result. Now, see, the $500 a month, that's nothing, right? But when you're talking about 42 million, you know, now think about it. How could there be 3,250 households that need that? You should talk to these Democrats. How do you have that many people? And that's probably not the only program that they offer in the state, right? Because Illinois has run out of ideas. The early results, a county commission survey from April painted a rosy picture. 3/4 of recipients said they felt more financially secure, and 94% dipped into the funds to handle emergencies. Majorities reported, why don't they ever talk about the people that don't get that money but have to pay for it? Jay, don't you think that would be a good idea? Hear from those people?
You bigot.
Sarah Shaheb, whatever, Director of Economic Security, Illinois, called it a historic success, adding that when the federal government was stepping back from its responsibilities to working families, how does the federal government have a single responsibility to working families? Where in the Constitution does it say that? As far as giving them handouts. Oh, wait. I'd be a skeleton by the time somebody comes forward because it doesn't exist. This is Cook County is leading the way to ensure people can afford basic necessities. Just vote for me. Yeah. For a region where Chicago's skyline gleams over neighborhoods still scarred by plant closures and wage stagnation, which I blame on the party. It's easy to see the appeal. Illinois, after all, anchors the kind of blue-collar backbone that powered America's post-war boom. Steel mills, auto plants, and rail yards that turned immigrants into homeowners. That was 100 years ago. If a few $100 a month can patch the holes in that fraying safety net, why not make it stick? Because it's too costly and it violates the general welfare clause. I mean, if any tax that comes out has to benefit everybody paying the tax, or you shouldn't do it. That's what the whole general welfare clause was about in the Constitution. That's what it was about. You can't tax people for a program that they're not going to benefit from. It was a way that the founders said, well, guess what? We're going to limit the amount of taxes, the amount of programs that you're going to be able to charge taxes for. But here's where the rubber meets the road, and the cracks in this feel-good facade start showing. Critics, including the Illinois Policy Institute, aren't buying the hype. Josh Bandock, the group's head of policy, fired back at that Cook County is making its guaranteed income pilot permanent and committing millions to a failed strategy already shown to leave people with less work experience and lower earnings. It's exactly right. He pointed to a recent Northern Illinois pilot, yes, including Cook County turf, that track lower workforce participation and individual incomes before transfers. In plain English, folks got the check, but fewer hit the job market, and long-term earnings took a dip. The county's retort, they acknowledged the mixed bag, noting that outcomes and impacts vary depending heavily on program design, amount of cash, frequency, duration of payments, eligibility criteria, income-based, place-based, and the cost of living. Look, the end result is
so.
Go ahead.
So outcomes vary. Translated into, okay, that's Democrat speak. Translated into English is that, well, if the whole thing doesn't work, well, we've already got our made up excuses. It wasn't us and it's not the program. It just varies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. See, the thing is, you get thousands of these kinds of programs all over the country, and what they do is they, like, think about it. During the pandemic, okay, they told a lot of people you couldn't work, right? But when the pandemic was over, they were still approving those pandemic era subsidies for Obamacare, right? And for other things. Why? The pandemic was over. So what the hell do you need to keep taking that kind of money from taxpayers and putting it towards people that joined the flat ass society, people that don't want to work? Right? Why are you doing that? Never makes sense. But when you understand they're doing it because they want the votes, yeah, it makes sense. Let's do this one. I saw this afternoon. I didn't read it, so this will be a first time for me. So let's see. Stunned scientists discover magnetic mystery creature inside ancient fossil. Let's bring it up. In a discovery that dramatically extends the known history of animal navigation. This is from Zero Hedge, by the way. Scientists have uncovered what appears to be the oldest direct evidence of creatures using Earth's magnetic field to orient themselves, dating back roughly 97 million years to the age of the dinosaurs, according to space.com. The findings, published by Nature, center on unusually large microscopic fossils preserved in deep-sea sediments from the Cretaceous period. These magnetofossils, chains of magnetic crystals, bear the unmistakable structural signatures of the same biological compass that allows modern salmon, sea turtles, and migratory birds. I was going to say the birds, they got the thing in their head, to cross oceans with uncanny precision. Until now, the earliest evidence of such magnetoreception, I can't read tonight, dated roughly 50 million years ago. And the new fossils push that timeline back by nearly double and suggest the sensory ability arose far earlier in evolutionary history than previously thought. Quote, we can now say with confidence that some creature alive 97 million years ago possessed a functional magnetic sense capable of supporting accurate long-distance navigation, said Richard Harrison, professor of earth sciences at the University of Cambridge and one of the study's lead authors. That's pretty interesting. So apparently they found something in the sediment. All right. What do we got?
Are you getting sedimental on us?
I am getting sedimental. I got to take a shower after the stream. Yeah, Convid. That's exactly what it was. Here's a good one. This was going on. Let me get the. I'm going to get the commercials out of the way before we go in. Before I vote. One second. Okay, there's the first one. Okay, here we go. Da, da, da. Yeah, I can't believe Maloney lets this go on. Here we go.
You guys really aren't ready for this conversation, but Europe may need a dictator. Careful, Jade, you're starting to sound like an extremist. I'm going to report you. Yeah, but when mass immigration is allowed, dangerous individuals enter our societies. They rape, unalive, and commit heinous crimes. And what does the government do? All. Allegedly, a young Italian couple was surrounded by 3 Moroccan migrants that smashed into their car and forced the boyfriend to watch as they gang raped his fiancée. Let me read that to you again. 3 people who should not have been in Rome gang raped an 18-year-old woman in front of her 24-year-old future husband. The 3 attackers dragged him out of his car. He didn't stand a chance, and nor did she. And I'll keep saying this, our cultures are not compatible. How can any liberal feminist sit back and make excuses for this behavior? European women need to stop virtue signaling. It's literally ending us. It's better to be racist and alive than not racist and not alive. What frustrates me is that in a couple of weeks this will be forgotten news, and the governments will have done nothing and probably protected the attackers. We need to close the borders, conduct mass deportations, and start the process of remigration and assimilation. For legal purposes, this video is all satire, none of it's true, and I'm not calling for anything, because I know you governments are just after me. Anyway, let me know your thoughts.
Fact checkers!
I know, fact checker, that's a great way. That's a great way to get out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just not true. You know, I'm just making it all up. But I'm surprised Georgia Maloney hasn't said something, come out and said something about that. Tesla knew about the Earth's magnetic fields. That's why they buried his work. Oh, yeah. Tesla knew all that. Let me see. Linda, are you referring to spitting on me? Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah, the seditious 6. Here we go. Let's bring that up. The seditious 6 Democrats. Wait a minute. The seditious 6 Democrats says he will refuse to cooperate with the FBI for illegal orders investigation. Yes, douchebag. Representative Chris Delusional from my home state of Pennsylvania. One of the Democrat lawmakers dubbed the seditious 6 for appearing in a controversial video. We all saw it, urging U.S. service members to refuse illegal orders like Trump's going to give an illegal order. You know what? What's funny is Democrats did give illegal orders, and the military did not refuse to do them. For example, that whole Afghan thing, all right, the Afghan withdrawal, right? That was an illegal order to allow the Taliban to take over security, to leave without making sure that the civilians and Americans got out first, get the military out first. They all followed suit with that. How about in Benghazi, when they were given a stand down order, when they were an hour's flight away, they could have saved four lives, including the U.S. ambassador Stevens, right? Christopher Stevens, you know, the thing that Hillary screwed up, right? The military followed that order, and there were a lot of people that were high ranking that were pissed off about that order, but they got a stand down order, you know, because they didn't want to look like the incompetent boobs that they are in that administration. You know, they did. The military does take bad orders, illegal orders, and they follow them. Right? You know why? Because this is the dirty little secret. They don't want to tell you that because I was talking to my son about this. When they teach you about the illegal orders, they also tell you, they say you got to go up your chain of command first. You know, you don't just say I'm gonna refuse that order, because who the hell are you to decide it? Like, you could have something that you believe is an illegal order and it's not. And so with these assholes doing this, I personally believe they did it. Number one, they put the video out. Number one, to embarrass Trump. All right. Number two, to put out the thought that, oh, Trump's going to give illegal orders because he must have in the past already. Why would they say this? They're members of Congress who are former, military people, right? But then also the liberals have destroyed every institution we have except the military. They tried with the whole transgender thing, but Trump got rid of that, right? And then the recruiting was just out of this world, right? They met their quota halfway through the year, but they're still recruiting, right? When Trump got back. So the fact of the matter is, what I think is that they did this to try to trash our military. Because think about it. They wanted people in the military, enough of them, to say, nah, the commander-in-chief, he's just throwing illegal orders out there. I'm not going to follow it. And then when you break the chain of command, when you break that, you don't have a military anymore. That's why I think they did it. So
one of the considerations when you're talking about this is that the individual soldier does not have all the information.
Right, exactly right. Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah, Jimmy from Philly. You're exactly right. They took, when they were told to take the vax, they did, because they had to follow order. The Supreme Court ruled that was a bad order. It was an illegal order. That he couldn't do that, but he did. And then, and he even did it to federal employees. Think about that. He screwed his own people that worked for him, right? I mean, think about that. So in the military, a lot of them got the jab and it was an illegal order, but they did it, right?
And there's a question in the comments. Did these Democrats ever define what they meant by illegal orders? And specifically, they did not. And
No,
they've been faced down by multiple journalists actually doing journalism, and asking them. And man, if you ever want to see, dancing,
arrogance on parade too.
Well, arrogance on parade, sure, but I mean the dancing. The dancing around and not answering the question. But the answer to the question is no, they can't, because he hasn't. And then the closest they get is they'll kind of like halfway on the side and quietly say, well, we're just informing people in case he does. Well, yeah, because he hasn't.
Yeah, that's what they did when they tried to backtrack. They said, well, we're just reminding that. Yeah, my son said that. Everybody knows. Everybody in the military knows it. It's the first thing they drill into. We all know it. There was no reason for them to do it. The congressman told host John Berman that despite FBI outreach, he plans to decline a voluntary interview. Good, then they're going to subpoena you. And I dare you to not go after that, because they're going to put you where you belong. Berman opened the segment by noting the stakes. Quote, my next guest is a veteran in one of the 6 Democratic lawmakers that recently posted this video to social media imploring military members not to follow legal orders. Let me say something. That in the Military Code of Justice, right, it says that even if you're retired, you're an officer, you're retired, you are still bound by the rules that say you cannot say things to the troops, to the rank and file. Anybody below you, you cannot say things like that. Like they were trying to instigate them, claiming, oh, well, I believe that Trump's orders were illegal, so I wasn't going to follow them. He wants to create chaos. And so that's why I was saying earlier that they could reinstate him and just throw a jag at him.
Talk about instigating an insurrection.
I'm telling you, man, this is what they do. So the president has suggested they are guilty of treason. The FBI has opened an investigation. He then asked the Pennsylvania Democrat whether he had been contacted by the federal authorities. Delusional replied, well, that's been reported now, I think since yesterday, that the FBI wants to ask me and the other members of Congress I served with for voluntary interviews. As I said when this news broke, it's a clear attempt to intimidate us. Do you hear this shit? They're the victims here. These people disgust me. They're the victims here. To try to deter us from criticizing the president. They didn't criticize the president as much as they tried to indoctrinate members of the military. Young skulls full of mush, right? That are following the Uniform Code of Conduct. I mean, they want to get these people to break down the chain of command. There's no other reason for them to do that other than to make Trump look like he's given illegal orders. These are what they do before primary or before midterms, by the way. I call it 1,000 cuts, death by 1,000 cuts of bullshit from the Democrats. Because think about this. They'll have like a million people, right, that will hear this. Oh, wow, Donald Trump's giving illegal orders, and they're just telling them that, you don't have to follow those orders. In fact, you have a duty against it. Oh, Donald Trump must be a terrible commander in chief. And then they don't hear the part where it's like, well, actually, no, these guys were a bunch of douchebags that went on and did that, and they could actually get arrested for this and charged. They could be,
and that is exactly why they should be stood up in court.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And then what happens is then they come in and say that Trump did this or with other things that have nothing to do with the military, and they're lies, right? Well, then the guy goes to vote in the midterms and goes, you know what? I remember Trump, like he was doing illegal orders to the people, and he did all these other things. Oh my God, I ain't voting for him. And I'm not voting for the Republican in the Congress either because he supports Trump, this criminal. This is how you got these assholes that are out there saying Trump's the criminal. Well, he is a felon, right? Yeah, fuck you too. You want to know something? That whole thing, there's so many reversibles in that whole thing with Juan Rashan and Alvin Bragg. Oh my God, the fact alone that they got 34 state misdemeanors that were documents charges where the statute of limitations ran out years ago. Elongated view. Yeah, all right, Jim, I see it. Thank you, Jimmy. The fact of the matter is that he just like squirreled me. He's trying to warn me that on Facebook that we have an elongated view. Actually, I see it, and it's it looks normal. It looks like the stream. You know, I don't have an elongated. It looks exactly like what we're streaming. All right, whatever. But you know what I'm talking about. They're trying to do things to get people to vote a certain way, but they've crossed the line with this one. They really did. They crossed the line. So let's see what this jackass says. So deterring us from criticizing the president. Berman pressed for clarity. What contact has there been from FBI so far? But see, you know what? Every one of them was asked, can you name an illegal order that Trump gave? Oh, that's not what it's about. No, that is what it's about. You said that they don't have to respond to, they don't have to follow and carry out illegal orders. Well, he's the commander in chief. So you're actually insinuating that Trump did illegal orders. Can you like tell us? They're like, well, no, not as of yet. Oh, so you just felt like a preemptive warning, right? You felt like a preemptive warning.
So these people took the CIA course in future telling.
Yeah, about it. Delusional responded. What's been reported out there is he tried to contact me and other members for voluntary interviews. Berman then asked the central question: do you plan on cooperating? Deluzio was blunt. I'm not planning to sit down for a voluntary interview. No. When Berman asked, oh, why not? Well, look, everyone in this country has the right to refuse to do that. Yes, and then you're going to be subpoenaed, jackass. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to skip the top. The Department of War has since launched a formal interview of Senator Mark Kelly. Now, he was a captain, and he could be in trouble. The only member of the group still bound by the Uniform Code of Military Justice. President Trump has described the video as seditious behavior. It was. There's no doubt it was seditious. Senior Pentagon officials have also warned that the messaging undermines troop discipline and the chain of command. Exactly. Deluzio's refusal to cooperate now places him directly at odds with federal investigators. See, what they're doing is they're saying, well, I'm not going to voluntarily do it. You know why? Because then they want the FBI or the military to then throw a subpoena at him. So that now the news cycle could say, the Trump administration is now subpoenaing a congressman. You know, that's what they're saying now. So this is all political the way it was set up. But you know what? It's failing because everything they do fails. They don't think things through very well. So let's say it.
Just another 6 of them that I want to see in orange jumpsuits.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I'm not going to do the one. The National Guard, Sarah Beckstrom, she died. She succumbed. That's sad. That's really sad. Let's go. Let's see if we can hit civil conversation. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, let's see if I can get through the. Yeah, it's another rumble. I'm going to through the commercial. Sorry, guys. Give me a second. Here we go. This is, come on, go to the end. Thank you. All right. This is Patriot has a civil conversation with a protester. It's interesting. Let's take it. Take a look at it.
Democrats have made a lot of mistakes, and it's time to fix those. Stop letting people tell you who to love and who to hate. Stop letting them dictate. Be free.
Look at her.
Be free. I fought for that. I went to war. I was willing to die. And I didn't ask if the person I was dying for was Republican, because it doesn't matter. You're a human being. Let's start
I got to tell you, the guy with the whistle, someone needs to punch him.
acting like human beings to each other. Let's start accepting each other and telling the people in power with all this money that they don't get to tell us who to hate anymore.
I respect you so much because we have a lot of common ground in our respect and our ways. We have so much common ground. They don't actually know that I'm MAGA. I'm a patriot. I love my country. I love my people. I signed up. I gave away my freedom for these people.
Brother, I love America, and I don't want it burned down. We started realizing we have a lot more similarities than we do with each other. I don't know you. Do you have a million?
Can anybody read the signs? Like, I'm trying to find out, like, is this a gay pride parade or what is it?
Dollars? Because I don't.
Nope.
Do you?
Not me.
Does your family have millions of dollars? Because mine doesn't. We have a lot more in common.
A lot of common
we have
ground.
a lot more because we serve.
Say
But we have a lot more in common than I have in common with the Democrats that are taking money, the Republicans that are taking money. So guess what? We got to start talking. I don't care if someone thinks that you're on the other side. We have to start talking to each other.
Buddies.
Yes, we both did. I lost 2 brothers. Okay? We both lost family. I'm for criminals being deported to the country they came from.
That's something I believe
But
in
it's
too.
due process.
No.
Because
Due
that's
process,
the Constitution. I don't know you and I never met you before. And people here seem to not like
Look
you.
at that. See, this asshole is blowing the whistle so that it screws up the interview. They're nuts.
But I love you because
They
you're
think
American.
I'm MAGA. I'm a patriot.
But that's okay. It doesn't even need, we don't need to have a title. You're a human being.
I'm surprised
One
he
of
didn't
our
turn around and
speakers
say,
today
"Stop it."
mentioned Marjorie Taylor Greene getting death threats. That's not okay. Whoever the fuck is doing that, left or right.
See, this guy's a Democrat I could hang with, that I could actually.
Well, you can talk to him.
Yeah, he's a guy I would love to have a conversation with.
And-
I don't
and-
give a shit who he sleeps with. I don't give a shit,
But-
how he votes. I don't care. I would love to talk to him.
And look, he reminds me of Rob Halford
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Judas Priest.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
look
he
at him.
does.
Look
I
at
mean,
him. His face. He looks like Rob Halford.
Yeah, got him unalived. I know. Let's see. YouTube or Rumble. When I first turn on YouTube, I stare at the bottom right corner of the screen waiting for the skip button. Yeah, I know. That's what I have to do. I didn't get the premium over there because I'm not on there enough, to get the premium. I love Rumble. Don't get me wrong. But I don't want to make people watch the 2 commercials. Let's see. Here's one. This is good. So let's put this up. It's about a Karen, California Karen. So it has viral. The nation has united against this smug woke lady and her plan to gentle parent her transphobic uncle. Here we go. Ready?
No, thank you, Uncle Mark. Try again with kind words, or we're going to take a break from this conversation.
Turn it up.
Use the names
All right. Is it low again? No, it's all the way up. Nothing I can do.
that people tell us. Remember, they are telling you who they are. You just need to use your listening ears. Did they give you trouble about your new hairline or your veneers or your LASIK? No. So you can mind your own body. Got it?
Got it.
You actually don't need to get it. Because it's not your job to be the gender police, silly goosey. Oh, that's an inside thought. Catch a bubble, please. No. They are who they are. And we are not going to pretend otherwise because you are uncomfortable. So why don't we do 2 minutes in the corner? At this table, we are respectful. So if you cannot
I would have walked away after the first 10
be
seconds.
respectful, it is time to leave your course banquet, please.
Oh, good Lord. I don't
Who's
even know.
trying to change whose behavior?
I know. I don't even know what she was talking about. So maybe we should read this damn thing.
Who's trying to convince? Who's trying to change someone else? No, you do what you want.
Yeah.
And leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, exactly. Here, let me put it up again so I'll read it so that I have an inkling of what. Before you ask, no, this woman is not being satirical. She is doing a skit, but it's not meant to be a parody of woke ideology. Go browse her account and you'll see just how committed she is to the leftist cause. She says she's a former teacher because, of course, since I have no spirit-filled words for her, I'll just give you the funny comments instead. So there you go. What you get when you cross these two. That's funny. All right. This is the type of person who enjoys green bean casserole. Yep. LOL. Nope. There you go. Eternally grateful for this proposed note for this. It has rate proposed community notes. I love that. That's the greatest thing that Elon did on X, was allowed community notes, because that drove all the live nut reporters off. They went over to Blue Sky instead. That's what did it. Because when you could do community notes to show what an a-hole liar they are, they didn't want to be there. SSRIs. This is what hell must be like listening to her. Good Lord. Yeah. You defeated your own argument quite soundly, I might add. And she did. If you are a man under 30, you most likely have spent a lion's share of your life in positions of being under the authority of this woman, and her insufferable liberal condescension has formed most of your politics. Yeah, I believe it. Republicans should probably just play this on repeat in the midterms. Happy Thanksgiving to all, but especially to transphobic uncles. Isn't that great?
Yeah, I mean, if the man's transphobic, is he going out and doing something illegal about it?
People, yeah.
You know, it's like, just don't talk to him about it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play all of this, but it's Rush Limbaugh, because it's a long file. We're not gonna play the whole thing, but I'll just bring it up, and the link is on jabberhouse.com, guys. It's the true story of Thanksgiving. He literally gave the true story. The liberals lost their ever-loving minds, because they want you to believe that our people were starving and freezing to death, and the nice Indians came up and saved them. No, it was like the exact opposite. It was pretty much the exact opposite. And so,
now the story of the Pilgrims begins in the early part of the 17th century. The Church of England under King.
The reason why he has that voice is because while he's doing this, he didn't have his. He has a cochlear implant on his head. Remember, he went completely deaf, and so he has a cochlear implant. You can see it right above his ear back there, and so his voice changed because of that. So,
James the First was persecuting anyone and everybody who did not recognize the church's absolute civil and spiritual authority, actually the state. Now, those who challenged the ecclesiastical authority and those who believed strongly in freedom of worship were hunted down. It's in England in the 1600s. They were hunted down, they were imprisoned, sometimes executed for what they believed. So a group of separatists, people that didn't want any part of this, fled first to Holland. They liked wooden shoes and cheese. They established a community. They were there for 11 years. After 11 years, about 40 of these separatists who liked wooden shoes and cheese agreed to make a perilous journey to the New World. They had heard about it. Some new exciting place hadn't been developed. They knew that they were going to face hardship. Hardship like you and I don't know. And I'm not preaching to you. I'm just telling you, we don't know the hardship these people endured. We can't. We are way too advanced now. People who lived in the 1600s would not believe life today.
True.
Try to explain flight, jet travel. They wouldn't understand it. They knew they were facing hardship. But paramount importance to them was living freely and worshiping God according to the dictates of their own consciences, their own beliefs. That's what they were denied the freedom to do in England. So
if you guys want to watch, I don't want to play the whole 24 minutes, but the link is it's on jabberhouse.com. You can go there and watch the whole thing. It's actually quite interesting. So let's go. Ann Coulter. Haven't heard from her since she hated Trump. So Ann Coulter drops a truth bomb that helps explain Trump's third world immigration pause. America just watched a nightmare unfold in Washington, D.C. 2 National Guard soldiers were ambushed and murdered by an Afghan migrant who never should have been on our soil in the first place. And to make it worse, this wasn't some random border crosser. He was flown in by the Biden regime, handpicked because of his work with the CIA and U.S. government. What you doing? Jane, what you doing?
Just reaching for something.
Oh, okay. Kind of loud. Let's see. To say Americans are furious that Biden's dangerous and twisted policies welcomed this act of terror into our country is putting it lightly. So President Trump did what a she's on his side again. So President Trump did what a real leader does. While the political class plays dumb and pretends this is all unexpected, he issued a Thanksgiving statement that hit like a freaking sledgehammer. He laid out the clearest, toughest immigration plan this country has ever seen. He isn't talking about tweaks or reform. At this point, he's talking about survival. He wants a full pause on migration from third world countries, a total and complete rollback of Biden's mass invasion, and the end of federal benefits for non-citizens, the deportation of anyone who's a public charge or threat, and a complete reversal of the great reset globalists have gleefully engineered. Should I read it? Salutation. All right. This is exactly what most Trump supporters voted for, but there may be more to this story. Journalist Ann Coulter believes we've been lied to yet again. We'll get to that shortly. In the meantime, President Trump is being driven by righteous America First energy, and for good reason. This is the guy. This is what helping our allies has turned into: zero protection, zero vetting, zero gratitude, just another imported Biden disaster that American families pay for with their lives. Thanks, Joe. After this latest terror attack, officials scrambled to explain how someone like this slipped through. According to one senior U.S. official, the Afghan suspect was supposedly clean on all checks. They claimed he'd been vetted continuously since arriving in the United States under Biden's Operation Allies Welcome lies. It's all lies. Because behind the scenes, intelligence officials are telling a totally different story, saying flat out that the government has no good fidelity on those many on who many of these evacuees actually are. How could they? So basically, vetted means only that he didn't turn on us while we were paying him. Once the money stopped, the story changed. Michael Schellenberger, the 29-year-old Afghan suspect, a man suspected of shooting 2 National Guardsmen yesterday in Washington, D.C., was clean on all checks, a senior U.S. official told CNN. The official told CNN that the U.S. government has been doing continuous annual vetting of individuals since the Afghans' arrival in the U.S., especially in the wake of the failed terror plot. I don't believe any of that. I think it's all bullshit. I don't believe all those thousands of them that they brought in. We're really supposed to believe that the Biden administration vetted them? They weren't vetting upwards to 18 to 20 million illegals coming over the border. What makes anybody think that they were going to vet them in the end? I don't think they did at all. So the man suspected in 26 and the senior official, yeah, it's the same bullshit. Let's see.
Hey everyone, it's Mike Schellenberger for Public. The 29-year-old Afghan man suspected of shooting 2 National Guardsmen yesterday in Washington, D.C. was clean on all checks, a senior U.S. official told CNN.
Sure.
The official said that the U.S. government had been doing continuous annual vetting of individuals since the Afghans' arrival in the U.S., especially in the wake of the failed terror plot disrupted before the election last year in Oklahoma, which involved an Afghan evacuee. But a senior intelligence official told Public there wasn't adequate screening done of Afghan evacuees. We don't have good fidelity on who any of them are. We say they're vetted, and he, the suspected shooter, Ramanullah Lakanawal, was vetted. That meant we thought he wouldn't turn his guns on us when we were paying him every month. And that worked for a decade with him. But the second we're not doing that anymore, the deal on their end changes. Lockenwall came to the U.S. as part of the Biden administration's Operation Allies Welcome. Nation building failed, said the official. We ended up importing massive amounts of people. Some online have asked why the U.S. didn't return the evacuees and why they were brought to the U.S. in the first place. The average Trump voter is asking, didn't I vote to kick them out? I think that's fair, the official said. The person said they were told earlier this year upon entering the intelligence community, you don't know how bad it is now, regarding the government's inadequate screening of evacuees. The Office of the Inspector General of the Department of Homeland Security in 2022 published a report warning of security risks among the Afghan evacuees in the U.S. DHS encountered obstacles to screen, vet, and inspect all Afghan evacuees, it found.
And what kind of obstacles?
Information was inaccurate, incomplete, or missing. Border Patrol admitted or paroled evacuees who were not fully vetted into the United States.
So why did they let them in? Why did the Biden administration let these kind of people in? We don't know that anymore. We know what the
You know the answer to the question.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's rhetorical.
Yeah, hold on. Lou, thank you. Thank you so much, brother. Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving. You too can be like Lou. All right. That's my brother's favorite line. You can only vet them by observing their behavior. Exactly right. But I mean, they have to have some kind of paperwork from their country, right? I mean, you give them a name, they should be able to look them up. But you know what? You come from a shithole, it's going to be kind of difficult for them to comply with. I get that. So yeah, you're right, Corey. Let me see what else we got. Patriots of the Conversation. We did that. Mark Kelly, can't know why Ukraine peace plan may be pointless. Yeah, this is one. The White House comms director, Stephen Chung. You're not going to believe this. What he said to a lefty reporter. This is really something. It's the first time I ever heard of someone saying it. And this guy's good too. Very loyal to Trump. Shut the fuck up. White House comms director Stephen Chung shreds lefty reporter for blaming terror attack against National Guard members on Trump. Right? So let's see. It's Benny. Hold on. Trump White House Communications Director Stephen Chung absolutely destroyed a lefty reporter for blaming President Trump for the tragic shooting and Islamic terrorist attack against 2 National Guard members. See, the administration officials are now just getting tired of the freaking lies by the reporters. And so he's just shut the fuck up. 29-year-old Afghan national terrorist Ramallah ambushed 2 West Virginia National Guard members and shot them at close range in D.C. on Wednesday. And entered the U.S. in September 2021 after warm diarrhea brains Joe Biden botched Afghanistan withdrawal. He overstayed his visa because obviously, and was in the U.S. illegally at the time of Wednesday's terrorist attack. It was also revealed that worked for the CIA as a member of the partner force in Kandahar, Afghanistan. They all did. The 2 Guard members, Sarah Rushton, are in critical while Sarah passed away. So that's kind of old. I want to see where he says it to her. There it is. All right. Jane. Well, Jane writes, this is so tragic, so unnecessary. These poor guardsmen should never have been deployed. I live in D.C. and watched as they had virtually nothing to do but pick up trash. It was for a political show, and at what cost, right? Jane, respectfully, shut the fuck up for trying to politicize this tragedy. They were protecting D.C. and trying to make the nation's capital safer. People like you who engage in ghoulish behavior lose all credibility, not like you had any to begin with. Now, that is the quintessential perfect response to these lefty reporters. Now, you're going to say, he shouldn't have used the F-bomb. Yes, he should have. He absolutely should have, I believe. Because it's time that they tell these people, STFU. Just STFU. Because we're tired of your bullshit. TDS, anything to make Trump look bad, even something like that.
You know, it's like I said, if a Democrat falls in the woods, how is it Trump's fault?
Exactly. That's exactly right. Let's see. Lincoln Project connection. Yeah, there you go. So you remember the Lincoln Project, guys that are grooming young men? They're a bunch of rhinos. They're no longer Republicans, by the way. So the Lincoln Project connection to the campaign to push military to defy Trump. So it was these bastards that were pushing it. So Jet here, I like the way this guy always says, Jet here, and he'll say, let's get into it. Did he say it? Yeah, he said it right there. He stole my line. Anyway, okay. So Jet here, I was scrolling through X when I landed on a thread from one of the sharpest investigators online, an account called Bad Kitty Unleashed. What she laid out was surprising. It connects the dots on this new push to convince the military to defy their commander-in-chief. And a lot of those dots trace back to familiar names from the old Lincoln Project universe. Nothing wild, nothing sensational, just documented connections and public statements that deserve a closer look. Let's get into it. The big picture Bad Kitty presented is fairly straightforward. Over the past few months, a handful of political groups, former military figures, and well-connected anti-Trump operatives have all started rallying around the same message. The military should refuse unlawful orders if Trump wins. On its own, that's not new. What is new is how coordinated the messaging suddenly looks. One of the earliest pushes of this narrative came from a group called the Save America Movement, which was launched by Steve Schmidt. Yes, the same guy who co-founded the Lincoln Project, a creepy pedo-linked group of anti-Trump radicals. So right out of the gate, you're dealing with someone who has spent about a decade positioning himself as a central figure in all things anti-Trump. Then you look at who else is involved. The Save America Movement released a video featuring Senator Mark Kelly and several veterans. The theme of the video was simple. Trump is a threat. The military members have a duty to refuse his orders. But here's where things get intriguing. That message didn't stay in one place. It moved through a number of affiliated groups. Valor Media, Veterans for Responsible Leadership, Common Defense, and the Chamberlain Network. And some of those groups openly say they include active service members, which is the part that raised so many eyebrows on X. That's a big no-no. And something else that's strange, a group tied to 5 of the so-called seditious 6 suddenly receiving a massive $20 million funding spike earlier this year. Nobody's alleging anything illegal, but those numbers and that timing stood out to many people and seem a bit odd. But hold on, things got stranger. The thread points out that one of the key figures in this network, the head of the Chamberlain Network, also works for Afghan Evac, a group that was created after Biden's disastrous and deadly Afghanistan withdrawal. The Afghan Evac has deep ties to over 250 organizations, many working directly with U.S. intelligence and national security circle. There you go. Things that make you go, of course, none of this automatically means anything nefarious, but the overlap is worth noticing, especially because, as Bad Kitty shows, this same orbit of people also appears in podcasts talking about psychological operations, narrative warfare, and how to weaponize influence campaigns. Again, none of this proves wrongdoing, but it does show a shared ecosystem where the same bad guys keep showing up in every resistance push against Trump. Common sense should do most of the lifting. Look, we don't have to read anymore. These guys were behind it. Of course they were. They were the jackasses who were down in, where are they at? They were in Virginia. And it was the governor. His name escapes me right now. It was the governor of Virginia, guys. What's his name? Damn. Youngkin, thank you. Yeah. Youngkin. So when Youngkin was having a campaign stop there, the Lincoln Project put they went in front of the Youngkin bus, and they had like 5 guys that were dressed up as white nationalists, white supremacists, right? Because they wore, I guess, the stormtrooper outfits, right? But they screwed up because one of the guys was a black guy. So you're supposed to believe Klan-like guys, one of their members is a black guy. And he was standing there laughing, as a matter of fact, holding his tiki torch. But that's the kind of crap that the Lincoln Project does. They make shit. It's one thing if you want to trash somebody because of their policies or something legitimate that they did wrong, right? Well, but these guys are clowns. They just make shit up out of whole cloth, and they expect you to believe it, and they don't care because they're getting paid. Let's see.
How about the story above that, the historical truth about Islam?
Yeah.
Is that any good?
Yeah, it actually is, but I don't know if we get in trouble for that.
Actually, it might. If you would it get this stream
I don't
canned?
know. I don't know. Let's find out. The shocking historical truth about Islam they don't want you to see. Left in the dust. Yeah. So here we are. Where the hell is it? All right. So the briefing. Jet here. First thing, let's get into. I love this guy. Jet here. First things first. This piece isn't an attack on the Muslim faith or the billions of people who follow it. What we're talking about today is something entirely different. Political Islam. Fact checkers! Political Islam. What is that? It's a governing system, a power structure, and a historical force that has shaped regions in ways most people never learn about. Let's get into it. The video you're about to see walks through a pattern that shows up again and again across centuries. Not theology, not belief, governance. I always said that Islam was not a religion. All right. I think it's a totalitarian system that was invented back when it was invented to keep the public in line. It was to keep the public. That's what I believe, because, I mean, Islam, the tenet of Islam is not like you have with Christianity, Judaism, or even Buddhism and other religions. Whereas you're supposed to be more like Christ, you're supposed to be more like God, you're supposed to be more like Buddha. Right? That your loyalty is to God. No, in Islam, the loyalty is to Islam. That's a really different paradigm. Anyway, fact checkers, I read that somewhere. All right, so it covers how certain regimes built on Islam overtook regions that were once thriving centers of science, philosophy, culture, and wealth, and how those places changed after those power shifts. You'll hear about Egypt before the 7th century Arab conquest, when Alexandria was the intellectual capital of the ancient world, and how the Coptic Christian community was pushed into second-class status. After we have a Coptic Christian church down the street from us. They are the nicest people I ever met, because we went to they had, it wasn't a cookout, it was an indoor thing, but they put food out for people to get to know them. Okay, and we just went, and it was like a year and a half ago. They were like the nicest people on the planet. Like, they were really sweet people. They were the Coptic Christians were the original Christians in Egypt, and they go back a long way. So the Coptic Christian and how the Coptic Christian community was pushed into second-class status afterward. You'll hear about Baghdad, once a global powerhouse of medicine and astronomy, before waves of internal Islamist power struggles dragged it into complete and total instability. You'll see what happened to Lebanon, which was once known as the Switzerland of the Middle East, before sectarian Islamists helped ignite a 15-year civil war. Do you know who they were? They were the Palestinians. You'll see Iran before and after the 1979 Afghanistan, before and after the Taliban and Gaza, before and after Hamas. The point isn't that these places had no problems before. They did. But the bigger point is that the governing structures built on Islam changed these societies dramatically, culturally, socially, and economically. The video goes even deeper when it turns to North Africa, showing how Berber, Christian, Jewish, and Roman-influenced cultures were replaced by Arabized, Islamized rule beginning in the late 600s. It talks about Carthage being destroyed, local languages fading, uprisings crushed, and centuries of identity totally rewritten. What do you think they're doing now in Europe? It's the beginning phase. This is a historical record of how political systems expand, dominate, and erase. And it matters now because Islam is spreading into so many corners of the Western world. Everyone talks about the sins of Christendom, but history is nuanced. So you don't get to look at one side and ignore the other because it doesn't fit your agenda. If we want to understand the world we're living in, the wars, the cultural clashes, and the geopolitical alliances, then we need the full picture, even when it makes some people uncomfortable. What you're about to see is the full picture, and it matters. Let's see if we can watch this. Let me take it out to X. Share this tab instead. Yeah. So let's see.
Takes over. Civilization. Everywhere Islam takes over, civilizations collapse. This is history, not an opinion. Egypt, Before the 7th century, a brilliant civilization, Alexandria, the center of ancient knowledge. After the Arab conquest in the year 640, Coptic Christians persecuted, special taxes, elites fleeing,
They did
result
that shit.
a poorer Egypt, Mesopotamia, Baghdad, 9th century, capital of world knowledge, science, medicine, philosophy, then Islamic internal wars, Sharia law imposed, economic decline, today Iraq, ruined and unstable, Lebanon, 1960s, prosperity. It was called the Switzerland of the Middle East, then the rise of Islamists in the 1970s, civil war from 1975 to 1990, result, exile, bankruptcy, chaos, Iran, before 1979, a modern country, growth, open universities, after the Islamic Revolution, religious dictatorship, sanctions, massive impoverishment, Afghanistan, 1970s, Kabul, universities, cultural openness. Then the arrival of the Taliban, brutal collapse. Today, a country ruled by Sharia, famine everywhere. Gaza, 1950s, visible Christian minority, active economy. Then the rise of Hamas, Sharia law imposed. Today, ruins, extreme poverty, massive unemployment. Always the same story. Conquest, Sharia oppression, and everywhere. Collapse. Egypt, Iraq, Lebanon, Iran, Afghanistan, Gaza, different countries. Always the same result. Everywhere political Islam takes power. Civilization disappears. Everywhere political
And now New York City?
Islam took power. Local civilizations collapsed. This is history, not an opinion. And
Right.
North Africa is a striking example. Before the year 690, North Africa was mostly Berber. Christian kingdoms still existed, heirs of Rome and Byzantium. Carthage, Timgad, Hippo, cities with churches, where people spoke Latin and Berber, where local traditions were still alive. But everything changed brutally after 690. Arab armies crossed Egypt, then invaded Libya and advanced to Morocco. In 711, they crossed the Strait of Gibraltar. They conquered Spain. The result?
They went in Spain
Forced
400
conversions.
years.
Christianity disappeared. Indigenous Judaism declined. Whole populations were Islamized and Arabized. The Berbers, a free people, resisted. They fought back, they rebelled. But against military and religious domination, most were subdued. Their language declined, their writing almost vanished, their original identity was erased. Look at Tunisia. Carthage, once a Christian and Roman center, was destroyed in 698. Its churches were torn down, replaced by mosques. In Algeria and Morocco, Berber kingdoms were absorbed into the caliphate. The Arabic language was imposed, local customs were suppressed. Every uprising was crushed in blood. From Morocco, armies crossed the sea in 711. They occupied almost the whole Iberian Peninsula. For 8 centuries, Spain lived under Islamic rule. Only a few Christian kingdoms in the north survived, in constant resistance. Everywhere the same pattern: conquest, Islamization, Arabization, ancient cultures erased, peoples transformed by force. Even today, North Africa still carries the mark of those conquests. The Berbers reduced to a minority, their ancient languages almost gone, and much of their history erased.
Yep. And you're not supposed to talk about that stuff, are you? Yeah. You're not supposed to talk about that. Crazy, huh? Let's see. Let me put this next one up. Share screen. What is it? Maxine Waters. We always love a good Maxine Waters, right? Here we go.
Resisting this low down, dirty, no good, filthy president of the United States of America.
That comment got a lot of attention.
Yes.
Low down, dirty, no good, filthy president.
Yes.
Critics say that that's unhelpful, makes the situation in the country worse, deepens the divide. What do you say?
I don't care what to say. Let me tell you, the president of the United States calls everybody names. And he just said to a journalist, a journalist, called her piggy.
Well, she
He called someone a big fat slob.
Yeah, the
and
governor
so
of Illinois.
he's doing it all the time. He gets away with it. The media does not challenge him. Does not resist him.
They challenge him, and that's why he does this to him, because they lie. They challenge him every word that comes out, and that's why he's done being nice to them.
And so, I feel very comfortable and very free hitting him back, resisting this low down, dirty, no.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
He's one of the most corrupt members of Congress. Hey, Special K, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, man. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just snorting at listening to Maxine Waters. She is the most brain damaged idiot.
Yeah,
it's just really hard to actually listen to her say anything.
Yeah.
So
it really is. Trump border clampdown forces cartels to rethink their game. And we got civil war fears. It's an investment. Here's one that I found interesting about Zelensky, about his regime. Let's see. There's walls closing in on Zelensky as authorities raid powerful chief of staff's home. So the original story was Ukraine's fight against graft took a dramatic turn Friday when anti-corruption investigators raided the apartment of Andriy Yermak, the longtime chief of staff to President Volodymyr Zelensky. The National Anti-Corruption Bureau, NABU, and the Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office, SAP, carried out the search, confirming the action was court authorized but holding back on specifics for now. Yermak, 54, who has shaped Kyiv's strategy against Russia's invasion for over 5 years, posted on social media to say investigators were on site with his lawyers present. From my side, there is full cooperation, he wrote. Now, you got to remember, guys, these politicians in Ukraine, some of the most corrupt people on the planet. And so, I mean, worse than Russia, worse than our Democratic Party. So when they say, oh, they're full cooperation, yeah, he could be lying through his teeth.
The national industry of Ukraine was money laundering.
Yeah, they were also the ATM for a lot of Democrats during the Obama administration. The news has hit the Zelensky administration hard as Yermak is considered to be the president's closest aide. It comes on the heels of a sprawling scandal that's already toppled 2 ministers and landed several suspects in custody, all tied to an alleged $100 million scheme siphoning funds from the energy sector. Prosecutors say the plot involved kickbacks and meddling in state-owned outfits like the nuclear giant that's been scrambling to keep the lights on amid relentless Russian strikes on power plants. Blackouts have plagued Ukrainian cities this winter, leaving families in the cold, while insiders allegedly pocketed cash, meant for defenses against those very attacks. One fugitive in the mix, Timur Mindich, a former business partner of Zelensky, bolted the country before cuffs could close in.
Oh, nice.
Well, Zelensky himself is a freaking dictator. I don't care what anybody says. He shut down the largest church because they disagreed with him, right?
He put a hold on elections.
He put a hold on election. They go, well, that was legal. Well, actually, no. He could have ended the war like 2.5 years ago, but he didn't because the Biden administration interfered with what they were with. Russia made a deal. Okay, Putin said, if you get an official document of your government and you say you will never join NATO, I will have within 48 hours all my troops are out. Zelensky said, you got a deal. And he ran to the government office to do it. They wrote it. He's running with it. He called all the news. And he's about to give a speech for it and sign it in front of it. And all of a sudden, you had Biden's the Secretary of State come on and call him and say, no, you can't do that. You have to say that part of the deal is that Putin has to step down from power, knowing that would never happen. And Zelensky, he bought into the Biden administration because they were giving him millions of our dollars. So he said, well, can't do it, and he backed off. The war could have ended, and he backed off because Antony Blinken, a criminal in his own right, because he made the case to him that you got to do that or you can't do it. It's like, who the hell was the Biden administration to tell another country that they couldn't end the war in their country? It's just unbelievable. So Yermak himself faces no charges, nor does Zelensky, but the optics couldn't be worse. Just hours before the raid news broke, Yermak sat for an interview with The Atlantic, brushing off the mounting scrutiny, quote, enormous. The case is fairly loud, and there needs to be an objective and independent investigation without political influence, he said. Yeah, in Ukraine, good luck with that. He also doubled down on Ukraine's red lines in any peace deal. As long as Zelensky is president, no one should count on us giving up territory. He will not sign away territory. But see, here's the thing. See, talking about what is the LDAP and what's the two regions that have asked? What's that? Yeah,
Donetsk.
Yeah, I don't know. I forget the name of it. But these two
one
regions.
of them is Donetsk, and the other one is.
Well, I'm talking about the names they give them. Hold on.
Yeah, no, that's one of the territories.
Ukraine. Let's see. The Donbass region and the Donetsk. Yeah, Donbass. Yeah.
Donbass. Yeah, Donetsk.
Yeah,
and
Donetsk and Luhansk Oblast, whatever the hell that is. But yeah, they literally went to Moscow and pleaded with Putin to take them under his wing to protect them, and he said sure. And so these two regions that Ukraine is like not ending the war for, well, Ukraine has already killed over 10,000 people there because they want to be loyal to Russia and not to Ukraine. I mean, they're out there killing these people. You know, imagine if we did that, right? Killing your own people because they wanted to be, with another country instead. And those people were all Russianized anyway. When the Soviet Union took over, they put a shit ton of Russians inside, each one of their countries that they conquered, right? That they took over, so that they would Russianize parts of it. And then when the wall came down and the whole commie thing ended, you had a shit ton of Russian people that were surrounded by people that had a long memory, and that's what these people are in these regions. From what I understand, there were Russians that were there. They were descendants of Russians that were put there at the beginning of the Cold War. So they want to leave. Well, I knew that Zelensky would try to hang on to anything to not end the war because it's a lot of money for him. That's a stiff posture, especially when U.S. Army Secretary Dan Driscoll due in Kyiv and American envoys headed to Moscow next week to hash out terms under President Trump's watch. Across the front lines, Vladimir Putin wasted no time twisting the knife. Speaking in the eastern Donetsk region, where his forces have clawed gains despite Ukrainian pushback, the Russian leader demanded Kyiv pull back to lines from 1991, the year Soviet Union crumbled, or face escalation. If they don't withdraw, we'll achieve this by force of arms, Putin declared. He added that any Ukrainian counteroffensive is practically impossible to hold back. It's classic Kremlin playbook: spotlight Ukraine's messes at home to erode support abroad, all while questioning Zelensky's staying power. Putin's been at it since day one of the full-scale war, casting the president as an illegitimate front for Western puppeteers. Yeah, Zelensky's never going to want to end the war, so they got to get rid of Zelensky. But how do you do that when he's the dictator, right?
A lot of people here don't want to end the war.
Yeah, well, it's money.
Go ask Lindsey Graham if he wants to end the war.
Hey, yeah, here's another one. Ready? My governor, oh, God save us all. Hair discrimination is now illegal in Pennsylvania thanks to Democrats. That's our progressive little weasel governor. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro has signed the Crown Act into law, a measure that prohibits discrimination on the basis of hairstyle type protection. So if you got someone that comes in and applies for a job in your business and they look like hell and you don't want a person like that to represent your company, you no longer have the right to say that I want to hire the people that I want to represent my company because it's my company. All right? You're not allowed to say that anymore because of libnuts like Josh Shapiro. The law, formally titled Creating a Respectful and Open World for Natural Hair, was approved as state officials argued that certain hairstyles have been used as grounds for unequal treatment in workplaces and schools. Look at this. Who knew? Here you go. PA Governor Don Shapiro, this will bring about a real freedom for all Pennsylvanians. Not for all Pennsylvanians. Look, every time a Democrat creates a law, someone's got to get screwed, right? Someone. Who knew it was this easy to end bad hair days? There you go. Shapiro said the law addresses discrimination he believes remains present in the state. Good Lord. Real freedom means being respected for who you are, no matter what you look like, where you come. So in other words, it doesn't matter. You can't say no to anybody that applies for a job to your company, no matter what. Think about it. So real freedom means being respected for who you are, no matter what you look like, where you come from, who you love, or who you pray to. For too long, many Pennsylvanians have faced discrimination simply for hairstyles that reflect their identity and culture. That ends today. You know, I'm still like, what the hell is he talking about? What kind of hairstyles is he talking about? Dreadlocks? Something like that. I don't know what he's talking about. Supporters of legislation describe the measure as a response to incidents in which they say individuals face negative treatment based on their appearance. Aww. PA House Speaker Joanna McClinton said the law is intended to prevent employers from making decisions tied to hair rather than job performance. If you're applying for a job as a receptionist, and you got a bone through your nose, and you got these dreads that look like you haven't washed them in 12 years, they have the right to say, no, we're not going to hire you because as a receptionist, you're the first person our clients see. I mean, am I wrong, Jay? Am I wrong in that, thinking that way?
You know, the only good thing is that when you're hiring somebody, you get to choose the applicant. The bad part of this is if you ever did want to get rid of somebody you've already got on board.
That's the point. Think about it.
That's tough.
This is going to help people by making sure that wherever you work or wherever you're applying for a job, they can't look at your hair and size you up. Not this sounds so ridiculous. They can't look at your hair, size you up, not based on their qualifications and all of the professional. Now, do you know how many people are going to have fucked up hair and they're going to go into a job and they're going to say, hire me, right? And they're going to have zero qualifications, but they're going to sue saying, he didn't like my hair. And no one's going to ask about the qualifications. That's not going to come out. Shut up, bigot. You know, it's not going to come out, right? It's going to be, you didn't like their hair. Well, no, they're totally unqualified. What do you mean? They never even went to med school and they want to be a brain surgeon. You're going to see stuff like that pop up because of this moron that we have for a governor. So now it's hair.
Like, did you see Michelle Obama go on about hair this week?
Is that why they're doing this? Because Michael.
Because she went on, was it this week or last week? She went on about, oh, well, you know, when we straighten she says, you know, when our hair comes out, it comes out curly. And, you know, she started talking about how she straightens her hair or black people straighten their hair to conform with what white people want. And therefore,
but isn't that cultural appropriation?
Well, but then she says white people should stop worrying about our hair. Who told you to change your hair?
Yeah, really? But isn't that cultural appropriation? Like what they said that when white people get braids, they braid their hair. It's cultural appropriation of black people. Not realizing that about 700 years before any black person in Africa braided their hair, you had the Vikings that did it. They were the ones that actually started braiding their hair, and they were as lily white as it comes. So, I mean, all this bullshit. Look, I would think, like, if I'm going to culturally appropriate someone else's shit, that's a compliment to that someone else, right? I mean, if I want to use something that another culture is known for, it means that I really appreciate that shit, right? I mean, am I wrong in that? Well, let's listen to this libnut. Let me play this.
Today, when I sign the Crown Act into law, that will be the next step in making good on that promise of bringing about real freedom for all Pennsylvanians.
This public policy campaign is my brainchild.
Can you think of how freaking stupid, like how many things they must have conquered, okay? That they can't think, you know, are they racially discriminating? No, that's against the law. You can't do that. Are they hiring like people? No, it's not. It's against the law. What is it? Well, how about people that have fucked up hair? Let's protect them. We can act like we're doing something for the community. We can claim that all Pennsylvanians are now safe from not getting a job because of their hair. I mean, how ridiculous.
Nationwide effort I have led since 2018.
You have way too much time.
Determining it was necessary to change the law to help redress the long-standing
and see, something like her haircut right there, I would not have anything against that because it actually works for her. Okay, I wouldn't have any. I would love to see what they're talking about.
Practice of racial discrimination in the form of hair discrimination.
So now it's racial discrimination. I thought it was hair discrimination.
I subsequently developed.
What about this bastard right here? He's got no hair. So how would I be discriminating against him if I said, no, you just don't have the qualification?
The national legislative, social impact, and coalition building strategies for this movement. Because for too long, a myopic notion of professionalism and Eurocentric standards of beauty have perpetuated racial inequity.
Okay, wait. Who has come up to you? I want the name. I want the name of who has come up to you and said, hey, you have to do your hair this way because that's the European style. I want her to tell me that. Who has told her that?
Yeah, I know. Well, they never will. I'm telling you, they made hairstyles.
Eurocentric beauty standards. Okay. Well, that's an individual thing. If I find something attractive, that doesn't mean you find it attractive. You find attractive what you find attractive.
Yeah, it's just freaking crazy.
It's insane.
It's insane. It's right. It's absolutely insane.
Too many Black children have been suspended and missed what should be valuable instruction time because their hair worn in ways that are aligned with their racial identity.
Bullshit.
Have been deemed.
Yeah, that's nonsense. What school did that?
Name to the school.
Yeah,
name one.
Of school rules.
I am a child growing up in the Virgin Islands with.
Well, now she got some fucked up hair, but I still, I mean.
Hey, can she do the job?
Yeah, there's many places that would hire her. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's ridiculous.
Can you do the job? I mean, I don't care for it, but
natural hair. Natural hair has been.
Yeah, but some of them, when they go natural hair, okay. With some of the things that they do with hair that just looks absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, like
that has nothing to do with natural hair.
This is not natural hair,
and you made it look unnatural.
This is not natural hair. This is somebody spending an hour or 2 hours or however it takes to do that.
But I could see her being hired by people because that's not like outrageous. I'm just saying, I don't think that's outrageous. You know, so I don't know who would say, no, I can't hire you because of your hair. I think it's because she may be a dipshit that can't pass the test for the company, right? And now it's because of my hair. No, it's because you failed miserably on the exam.
Yeah, and Special K, I agree. Special K, I agree that the glasses are more of a problem than the hair.
We have the greatest chat ever. That is true. They look dumber than her hair. You're right. Yeah, but I mean, I don't see anybody saying, no, I'm not going to hire you because of your hair. If her hair was like that when she came in,
show me
what's the problem with that hair?
Show me one. That's
crazy.
Braids, twists, locks. All my life, that's all I know. As you know, I still have locks. But wearing my natural hair has been all that I know. But as I opened my salon and spoke to different clients that wear braids, that's telling me, Lorraine, I have to take these braids out. I have a job interview. Or Lorraine, I have to cut my locks down because my job says it's too long. And the recent one was my client who says, Lorraine, they talking about me. I have to do something. I have to cut my locks because of my job. You know, they saying it's unprofessional to have locks. And I'm like, wow.
Look, we know that this is an issue that disproportionately affects Black Pennsylvanians.
So that's what it is. The Democrats in Pennsylvania want to try to get the Black vote back again. So what they're doing, I think about it, it makes total sense. So they brought this ridiculous issue to the forefront, wasted time to make a law about it to take rights away from business owners, right? I mean, to take any rights of who you can hire and who you can't away from business owners based on fucking hair, excuse me. All right. So what they're doing is they want to generate anger among the black voters saying, "Yo, I didn't know that people weren't going to get hired because of their hair. Fuck that. I'm not voting for." That's what I'm voting Democrat because look what Josh Shapiro did.
Wear their
I'm
hair
guaranteeing
in
that's
protective
where it's
styles
coming
like
from.
locks and natural braids or twists. And it can manifest itself.
So far, I haven't seen any hairstyle that I wouldn't hire a black woman for.
In a number of different ways, from someone getting fired simply because of how they look, or maybe someone getting passed over for a job because of the way they wear their hair. That's unacceptable. And in a moment,
and so we're going to force corporations to have to hire anyone, no matter how effed up their hair looks. That
will be illegal.
And you know what? I don't know if this would be able to stand up in court. Yeah. This law.
Hey, you should be able to share my screen.
What screen?
Just pop it up.
All right, hold on. I have to come back to the tab. Your screen? Oh, you put it there. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Before
just a quickie.
I got to remove the other one first. It says. All right. Cool. It doesn't reread it. All right. Cool.
There you go.
Oh yeah. There's the Vikings. Yeah.
Viking braids.
Yeah, Vikings did it long before they did it down in.
Yeah, this lady's this is quite the braiding. But yeah. So.
Yeah, but Pam, hold on a sec. Pam, what this is an operation of. Okay, so you're not hiring me because of my hair. Well, no, it's because you're incompetent and you couldn't pass a simple test to show that you knew what you're doing to do this job. Nope, it's because of my hair. And so when you get into court, what company wants to be known as a racist? Like, really, seriously, what company wants to be known as, well, you know what? I got this court case against me and they ruled against me because, obviously, and saying that I'm a racist now. Now my company's going to suffer. So people just comply. That's what this is all about. What manager put bad hair as a reason for rejecting it? Exactly. Oh, thank you. That's another one. Like, I would like to know who these managers are.
Name one.
Yeah. Name one, please.
Okay, I'm going to take down this. I'm going to take down the share.
Yeah. It's just unreal. We don't even have to watch the rest of it. Let me take it off. Stop the screen.
I just thought I would pop that up since you mentioned Viking braids.
Yeah, that's cool.
Just thought I'd pop it up as a visual aid.
Yeah. We got one we can do. It's on dogs. Let's do this. Let's see. Is that it? Hold on. Which one is it? All right, it's YouTube. There we are. It's kind of funny. So the smartest dog. Here we go. Smartest dog. He's letting it run. There you go. He points it to himself. Dogs can be funny too.
Dogs are so funny.
They can be. All right. Let's see what else are we going to do here. Let's get some of these videos out. Hair discrimination.
What is this about? This is what a Chinese. This is
what. Oh yeah.
IKEA.
This is what the Chinese do at IKEA. I thought this was kind of funny. Let me. Okay. Let me bring it up. Oh, hold on. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, this is weird, man. But you'd be like, oh yeah, okay. That's what they're doing. They're lying around on all the furniture. Falling asleep. 30 person walking around. Look at them all. They're all in there lying on the beds, just hanging out. You know why they're doing it? Because IKEA has air conditioning. No other place in the region does. Watch. They just hang out in IKEA. Take advantage of the air. Nobody's buying shit. You imagine it's so hot outside and you can't have air conditioning, but you take your kids and whatnot and you sit in a department store. Look at this. Look at the music. Look at this guy. Now it's too cold. I need a blanket.
I mean, these people are seriously crashed out.
What's that?
They're seriously crashed out. I mean,
oh yeah. They took over the whole store because of air conditioning.
大哥盖着被，脱了鞋往上一躺一睡。
Whatever that means.
大哥，你真绝了你！
你会说英文吗？
这人们这生的，躺那生睡。
Just said you speak English and then. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Not so stuff, man. Yeah, I would do the same. Yeah, and smelling up the place. Yeah, that's funny. You guys are the best. Let me see. I had to cut my hair to be an extra in the first Superman movie. There you go. I bet you were too. Yeah. All right. So,
what do we do next?
Let me see. It's got to be the Hemingway. Oh yeah. I think those are a major constituency of the Democratic Party. Well, we knew that. Let me see. Campbell, Civil War fears.
How about the man convicted of feeding our future?
Feeding our future? Yeah. Future fraud. And this is from MSM. Actually, it's Fox, but MSM actually promoted it. All right. Man convicted in feeding our future fraud. This is the thing that's going on with Ilhan Omar's people up in Minnesota. It's in Minneapolis. They've stolen millions upon millions of dollars. And they have over 70 people. I think it's 78 defendants now. And a lot of them are getting convicted. And what it was there was a program called Feeding Our Future. And it was bringing money in from tax dollars in Minnesota and especially in Minneapolis. And it was to feed poor kids. Okay. It was a restaurant, a supposed restaurant called Safari in Minneapolis. And because I did a story on this. In fact, I should read my story. But I did a video on it too. They in this Safari, they took all the money in. They said, oh, we're feeding 6,000 kids a day, but that's twice the amount of children that live in the city, right? So, in other words, they bullshit. They only put out like maybe 1,000 meals a day, and the rest of the money went to people that like took vacations and cruises, and they stole a shit ton of money. So it has here the brief. We'll just do that. A man convicted in the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme has been sentenced to 10 years behind bars. Good. Abdijad Mohammed Nur, 24, was also ordered to pay $48 million in restitution, and are also faces another sentencing for trying to bribe a juror during his fraud trial.
Oh, nice.
Corrupt as the day is long. And let me do this. Did you guys watch my video? I will play it. Yeah, it's my video on this whole bullshit scam. Let me bring it up. Okay. So I'm going to play my own. I know it's like you shouldn't do it, but I don't care at this point. So let me bring this up. Right? There you go.
Hey guys, me Rich. Something is happening in Minneapolis, and you need to hear it. You're watching a story that exposes corruption so massive it makes every excuse from politicians sound ridiculous. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you how a $250 million fraud ring wrapped itself around Ilhan Omar's political base and why she's melting down over it. But what we're going to go over is even worse than the headlines, because this scandal reaches from Minneapolis straight into international terror networks. And Omar's response tells you everything to know about where her loyalty really sits. This gets explosive. Not going to want to miss it. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to RPW Media, where nonsense goes to die and facts get the spotlight. All right. Things just keep getting worse for Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, a politician already living at the bottom of the moral food chain. The indictments around her political base are piling up so fast that even fellow Democrats can't spin it into something cute like they always do. And here's the part nobody's saying out loud. The scandal hasn't even reached its peak yet. This isn't a typo in someone's ledger. This is what prosecutors openly call the biggest COVID fraud scheme in American history. And once you hear what Omar said about it, the panic behind the scenes becomes painfully obvious. Something much bigger is hiding underneath this story. This entire disaster comes out of Minneapolis, the same community that built Omar's political career. More than 70 people have been arrested so far. The total theft, $250 million. Money intended to feed children during the...
Hold on, Linda, sorry. What do you mean? But I don't know what that means. Rich, it just does your head in when you make this vid. When did you make this vid? I did it the other day. It came out. Hold on. It was my last video. Yeah, it didn't get a lot of. It was on the 26th, 2 days ago. Yeah. I don't know what you meant though. If I did your head in, I don't know what. Double vision. What do you mean? You drinking a lot? Hold on. All right, let me.
Endemic.
Let me get to the important part, which is when she gets so freaking arrogant. Like, just listen to my explanation. I can't do it any better.
Is she demanding accountability? Is she apologizing to American taxpayers after her own community was caught in a $250 million fraud? Not a chance. So Omar held a press conference after Trump revoked TPS. And her statement was exactly what you'd expect from someone more interested in protecting a political tribe than American citizens who pay taxes. Here's what she said.
And that you don't put that crime on a whole community.
They didn't. They put the crime on the people that they have evidence committed the crime. It's not a whole community.
What we also know.
No, you don't.
Is that there is not a single evidence that the president or his coonies have put forth that there are any single resource from taxpayers in Minnesota that has gone to aid and abate terrorism.
Actually, there is. According to News Nation, federal authorities who spoke with News Nation on the condition of anonymity say al-Shabaab takes a cut of funds sent to Somalia. Now, a former member of the Joint Terrorism Task Force told News Nation that although there are legitimate refugees here and they do have the right to send money back, the system is way too untracked, way too wild, and people are committing crimes. And that money that they get from committing the crimes is going back to Somalia. So
the point is they know, the government knows, Ilhan Omar knows that al-Shabaab steals the top parts of that money for themselves, and they leave mere pittances. These are the remittance payments that people here make. Okay, well, you got a lot of remittances to send back when you steal millions of dollars, right?
Sending money that they committed crimes to get back to Somalia, and they know that al-Shabaab takes a cut of all those funds.
It's a known thing. So
that language is dangerous.
No, it's accurate.
That language puts the lives of Somalis not only in Minnesota, but across the country in danger.
How? She'll never explain.
And if the president believed that and he had evidence, he would take people to court.
He already has. There's over 70 people. I think they're up to 78 people now.
So we are sick and tired of the president waking up one day and deciding to put forth falsehoods and demonize
This is a woman who lies for a living about Donald Trump. And she's saying he's the one that's putting falsehoods out there.
This is a woman who married her brother just to get him into the country. Married her brother.
While the ignorant people that support him.
Oh, so everybody that voted for Donald Trump is now ignorant? Guys, did you hear her say a single thing about the crimes?
No.
She's more upset that the crime was exposed, that the fraud was actually exposed. And it's with her base, her supporters that are involved. And
she started off saying Somalis are not committing terrorist acts against Americans. And I'm like, who said they did? Like, nobody did. This is what Democrats do. They'll, when did you stop beating your wife? Well, what are you talking about? I didn't beat my wife. It's that kind of shit. And so now people go, oh, wow. So the Trump administration said that Somali people, innocent Somali people living in America are committing terrorist acts. No, never happened. That's called performative truth.
She is about Minnesotan taxpayers getting robbed.
Then take the lies that he's spreading and use it as a fact.
Oh, my goodness. They did that. The Democrats did that since the day Trump came down the escalator. She's got balls to talk that way.
Somalis are not terrorizing this nation.
There you go.
We are helping.
No one ever said that Somalis are terrorizing the nation.
Thrive.
I thought I was past that.
Somalis have always seen themselves as a fabric of this nation.
And why are you committing so much fraud being the fabric of the nation with taxpayer dollars?
We have signed up to serve this country in its military.
You have also stolen $250 million in that little city.
We have signed up to teach children.
Yeah, you taught the children how to steal money and fraud schemes in Minneapolis.
We have signed up to become nurses and doctors and engineers.
Yeah, and you also signed up to steal money. You see, she's not talking about it. She doesn't want to mention the crime. What she's doing is she's bloviating about things to get the people's minds off the fact that there are serious fraud crimes that were committed.
We have signed up to be public servants and get elected into office. We don't do that because we hate this nation.
Yes, you do. Ilhan Omar hates the United States. I mean, she was on record giving a speech just like this one where she said that she cared more about Somalia than she did the United States. That's what she's saying.
We do that because we love this.
What's that?
Bingo. I just going to say, that she also has multiple times professed allegiance to Somalia over in the United States.
And she said that something about we're not going to, meaning Somalis, we're not going to allow the government to ignore us. I'm like, why? Why are they so special? We allowed you in as refugees, and most of you are on welfare. I told you she created the whole. She told a bunch of people up there, women, you had a jillion kids. You can scam the system by all of you creating daycare centers, and I'll give you the paperwork and you fill them out, and then one day you have most of them in your house, the next day most in your house, and the state pays you to maintain the daycare center, but they also pay you per child, right? Even your own kids, right? She was involved in that. Everything's a fraud up there. There's other frauds that are going on.
Nation.
No, you really don't love this nation because you wouldn't support 99% of the things that you do support if you did.
It's so full of shit.
We do that because we have deep gratitude.
There's no gratitude for this nation coming from you.
To the Americans who have given us the opportunity to find a new home.
Yeah, they actually accepted you as a refugee with your family. But a lot of people don't know this, that they had to flee. Her family had to flee Somalia because the people there overtook in a revolution the Marxist leaders, the communist leaders, and her family were the communist leaders. They were a part of it. So they had to flee for their lives from people who didn't want to live under communism anymore. But we let them come in with arms open, and then she goes around trashing our country every chance she has. So there it is. Ilhan Omar thinks the real victims are the Somalis, not the taxpayers.
Yeah, you're right, Gene. Hi, Gene.
Not the children
you're right.
who
can't
never
speak English
received
well after all
food that
these
they were
years being
supposed to receive. Not the families learning that their tax dollars funded an Al-Qaeda affiliate. She's angrier at the sunlight than she is at the theft. You know, it seems like she is more outraged at the exposure of the fraud than at the fraud itself.
Of course she is.
I mean, there's another massive scam in Minneapolis involving fake autism treatment centers that stole hundreds of millions more, paying families kickbacks. Ilhan Omar entered this country with Americans with arms wide open. And her worldview today says that America is racist, unfair, evil, unworthy of any loyalty. This is
how is that gratitude?
Sounds
What
like
she
you should go
espoused.
home, lady.
It's taken over the entire Democratic Party. See, here's the thing that progressives today believe. They believe that rich people got rich by stepping on and stealing from poor people years ago, decades ago. How do you steal money from poor people? I thought they don't have money. That's what makes them poor. But that's what they believe. And it's a psychological thing. People think, well, I'm as good as the next guy. Well, why don't I have money? Wow, because your ancestors had your money stolen from you by these rich guys here. That's how they stayed rich. And so they believe this nonsense, this garbage, this kindergarten stuff. And then they go on to think that, okay, so then the progressive job today is to steal it back for them. And they do it through the laws, or they do it through fraud scams. That's what we're looking at right now. Now, that's tribal politics replacing national loyalty. You know, Trump made it very clear that that era ends with him. America first is the future. Nationalism, love of country. If you don't...
So you make sure you don't put in a complaint against yourself now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't think I will.
How about, oh, what was there? I just saw one. Trump's border clampdown.
What acts of government? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly correct. I'm sorry, say that again. We got
Trump's border clampdown. Want to talk that one? We got time for one more.
Border clampdown. Yeah, we could do that. Okay, let's bring that up. All right, America first. Okay, Trump's border. Where the hell are you? Yeah, Trump's border clampdown forces cartels to rethink their game. So let's get rid of that. President Donald Trump's swift moves to lock down America's southern border have hit Mexican cartels where it hurts most, their wallets. With illegal crossings plummeting to historic lows, these ruthless outfits that once raked in billions from human smuggling are now scrambling to pivot their operations. This is what happens when Washington finally puts American sovereignty first, starving the very networks that prey on vulnerable migrants and flood our streets with poison. In the early months of Trump's second term, the numbers told the story. U.S. Customs and Border Protection reported the lowest October crossings on record for fiscal year 2026, with daily apprehensions averaging just 258, less than 11 per hour. That's a 95% drop from the chaos of the prior administration's final years, when surges overwhelmed agents and communities alike. By November 2025, the Department of Homeland Security was touting 6 straight months of zero releases by U.S. Border Patrol, a feat experts called unprecedented in modern times. Don't they say that, like, everything Trump focuses on, they're like, it's just unprecedented? I mean, everything, and yet he's evil. He's evil.
It's also unprecedented to get a second non-contiguous term.
Right. But everything he achieved, I hear you, but everything he achieves, like, oh, we just never thought we'd see that. But he's Hitler. I mean, think about the fucking stupidity of that. Trump's executive order signed on day one designated major cartels like the Sinaloa and Jalisco New Generation as foreign terrorist organizations, unlocking military-grade tools to seize assets and disrupt their cash flow. Human smuggling was the cartel's golden goose, a low-risk, high-reward racket that netted up to $13 billion annually at its peak. Quote, the coyotes were making more money than the drug runners, said one former Border Patrol official familiar with the operations. Families desperate to reach the U.S. paid thousands per head, often handed over to cartel enforcers who treated them like cargo, extorting, assaulting, raping, or abandoning them in the desert. But with Trump's border policies and a surge in deportations topping hundreds of thousands, that pipeline dried up fast. Over 2 million illegal aliens self-deported rather than risk the iron grip of streamlined ICE protocols. Now the cartels are adapting in ways that spell trouble for everyone. Reports from the border indicate a dangerous uptick in riskier smuggling tactics. Migrants are being funneled through treacherous mountain passes and remote desert stretches far from the well-trodden Rio Grande corridors where agents once focused patrols. Quote, it's a dangerous game, warned DHS analysts tracking the shift. In one grim case last month, a group of 15 Venezuelans paid $8,000 each to cross via a cartel-guided trek over the Sierra Madres, only to face freezing nights, armed rivals, and no guarantee of survival. Worse still, the criminals are doubling down on what they know best, drugs. Fentanyl labs in cartel strongholds like Sinaloa are ramping up production with precursors smuggled from China, despite White House proclamations slamming Beijing for its role. Seizures at legal ports of entry, where 90% of fentanyl slips through, hidden in commercial trucks, have spiked. But so have overdose deaths in American heartland towns. Trump's response? He's greenlit naval interdictions off Venezuela's sinking cartel. See, these are the cartel boats, the narco boats, that the left is like, you can't do that. You don't know this drug. They don't see a damn thing about the thousands of Americans that are dying because of those boats. They don't say jack shit about that because they don't care. Anything to trash Trump. The land is easier, but that's going to start very soon, the president said in a recent address, signaling a no-holds-barred escalation. Military assets, including 5,000 active duty troops, are already bolstering intelligence along the frontier. This isn't just about walls and wire. It's about breaking the cartel's stranglehold on our border and our communities. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum, there's a name for you, has extradited a few kingpins and sent troops north under pressure from Trump's tariff threats. But corruption runs deep south of the line. Whispers from insiders suggest many local officials turn a blind eye, pocketing bribes, while American families bury kids lost to cartel fentanyl. Is it outright collusion? Sorry. The evidence piles up. Cartels control entire towns, and enforcement often stops at the checkpoints. Trump's terror designation cuts through that fog, treating these gangs like the enemies they are and forcing even reluctant allies to pick a side. The results speak for themselves. Foreign-born populations in the U.S. are shrinking for the first time in half a century. Visa overstays are under the microscope, and interior enforcement raids, like the one netting over 130 in Charlotte last week, keep the pressure on. Sure, the cartels will evolve, but so will we. As one Texas rancher on the front lines put it, they thought they owned this border. Now they're running scared, and that's how it should be. Yeah, well, he's got them on the run, doesn't he? Hey, everybody, do me a favor. If you haven't already, hit that like button because it helps us. Before you leave, please. Let's see how many we got. We have 15. Guys, please hit that like button. It really helps us. And guys, watch the videos during the week, please. And I like to hear your comments. I want to get some likes there, too. They did shout Allah before shooting the op-ed.
Everybody have a good couple of weeks. I'm going to be away for the next 2 Fridays.
I'll be doing solo. Probably bring some people on.
Yeah, bring some people in, Rich. But I'm going to be away. I have some obligations for the next 2 Fridays, and then I will be back.
Opium War Mark III. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. You know, we love you guys. You're the best out there as far as being in a chat. You guys are funny as hell.
Come on back. Bring a friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Bring a friend, please. Speaking of friends, what happened to Dottie? And what happened to Dawn? I haven't seen them in the last few weeks. They okay? Anybody know the scoop on them? Yeah, take care. Thanks, Special K, for being here. I really appreciate you guys. There you go. Enjoy your time away, Jade.
Yep.
Yep. All right.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks, guys. We're out of here. Love you all. See you next week. Bye, everyone. Hey, Chris, what's up? See you guys.